futures once again pointing to more selling coming up at the open this morning following disappointing earnings from Netflix, down more than 20% here in the pre-market. We'll touch on Netflix, obviously, the biggest name to report aftermarket yesterday, leading, in fact, to the downside once again as we see the NASDAQ under pressure here. The first of the big names, first of the big tech names to report. We'll get many more next week, including Apple reporting on Thursday next week. So more to come, possibly. As we said, 20% to the downside for Netflix. We're also watching Peloton this morning. The CEO, of course, coming out aftermarket yesterday saying rumors they are going to halt production of their fitness equipment. Not in fact true, but they are looking at other measures to look at shifting direction for the company, getting it back on track. Both the S&P and Dow on track for their fourth negative week in a row here. So we'll hopefully get a little bit of support coming back into the market. The NASDAQ down nearly 5% so far on the week this week alone. It's the fourth straight losing week, as I said, and the largest weekly loss since October of 2020, if you can believe that. Crypto shares, stocks of crypto-related companies also under pressure here. Big slide overnight for cryptocurrencies. We'll touch on that as well. Lots to get to this morning. It's Friday, January 21st, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, negative to start, as we mentioned, to kick things off. S&P 500 about 0.5% to the downside. The NASDAQ more than that. Even the Russell 0.4 to the downside right now as well. As we said, kind of extending declines that came in late in the day yesterday. A lot of selling pressure into the close yesterday, led of course by tech stocks once again as we get prepared, I guess, for the first Fed meeting of the year coming up next week. They'll touch on interest rates. No one is really expecting an interest rate hike next week. The first one expected to come February and possibly March. Let's bring in the guys here and we'll get going on what should be an interesting Friday morning, guys. We are under pressure right across the board, including, what a move for cryptocurrencies overnight.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix extending losses, breaking major support, and then that bleeds over into the crypto markets. Bitcoin broke that 40,000 mark. Ether looking at 28, something like that. And of course, there was a Peloton. Now, look, I don't know what you're expecting the CEO to say. Well, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit more. Like, what's he going to come out and say that's exactly true when it was a leaked document? So there's a lot to unpack with regards to Peloton. Of course, we were heavily trading it yesterday, and it's going to be on the front of people's minds. And it's one of the volume leaders, quite frankly, this morning as well, doing over 1 million shares in pre-market price action. So we'll take advantage of the levels that we saw in yesterday's action to be able to trade it. Of course, with the move in Netflix, it's provided up a new range for that stock. And there's a lot sitting on key levels, man. Like GameStop right in front of 100. Coinbase is under $2 away from its all-time low. It actually just bounced off of that earlier in the pre-market. There's a heck of a lot to be watching this morning, and we're going to bring it all to you, and we're going to trade it live. So it's shaping up to be a crazy end to the week. And I guess buckle up. Buckle up is definitely the way to go here, because when I think everyone uses those red graphics, the market sell-off graphics, I'm not naming any stations on purpose, but usually when they do that the first time, sometimes you get a bounce in the market. I'm kind of hoping we get a little bit of that today, but there are some names that I'm going to be looking to only go in one direction on, and that's going to be true for certain types. And there's a lot of small caps even making some big moves here, Sean.
And small caps, I haven't looked at one of them yet, but I know there's tons going. And I mean, what was a mid-cap stock is now a small cap stock anyways, right? I mean, most of these names are all near 52-week or all-time lows. I mean, I can't even think of, there's hundreds of names that we can all talk about that are at 52-week lows. Clovers, PaySafes, everything. Neo's right here, Teladoc, UiPath, anything that Kathy Wood has touched. Snapchat's down 60% from its highs. Today we get Netflix down 40% from its highs. Disney similar story, getting hit down today. We'll talk about that. So many names just getting absolutely crushed, right? And it's going to be a nasty little ride. And then today, unfortunately, we also get the chip makers starting to go to the downside. Well, I mean, not starting, but not doing well today, down 1.47% as AMD touching 120. Nvidia's also on our watch list, watchlist.tradertv.live. News about them today. They're leading the charge down 2.5%. That's a nasty, nasty ride. But this is all levels that to be picked up. Oh, about crypto last night. So, I mean, I tweeted it out, and to me it was very, very easy. And Brendan and I just stayed back after Brendan was doing something, and I was talking about possibly liquidating. And you guys heard me say that yesterday about getting out of some of these NASDAQ names. I even asked Daniel Shea about a strategy there, what to do, because I was very, very nervous. So it was an easy writings on the wall, man. If people don't want to own equities, and they're not going to want to own crypto, and you want to talk about market caps and things like that that are way out of whack, you know, most of these coins are, I don't have to tell you, but they're, I mean, here, we can go right now. Even if I go to this coin market cap right here, or what do I use? CoinGecko? What is this here? Yeah, CoinGecko. I mean, look at the market cap even after this. You know, 380 billion for Ethereum, 43 billion for Solana. You know, Cardano, 43 billion. Like, so, and this is even after these massive, massive dumps here, right? So I think if we're gonna have a bubble in equities, which people are calling, and it makes sense right now, then yeah, I did sell. I only sold 20%. I sold 20% of everything that I had. So we'll see tonight if this can bounce back for the weekend. But for me, as soon as Bitcoin broke 40, you guys saw me buy last time at 40, so I just stay the same truth. As soon as it breaks 40, I'm out. As soon as Ethereum broke $3,000, and I tweeted this out, we're out of that one. And then as soon as Cardano broke 125, we got out. And like I said, I'm not getting out. It's just I'm getting out at 20%. And I think that that's something that we should all maybe consider doing at these levels, because, and it all depends on how much money you have in. I have too much in, so I get some out. And that's just the way it is. I sold coin. And again, part of my exposure also belongs in Coinbase. So like, if you say I have 100 grand in crypto, but then you have like 30 grand in Coinbase, you have 130 grand in crypto. Okay. Plus, if you have another couple bit in HUT, or you have something else in any of these other miners, there's Riot, Mara, all this, they're all moving the exact same. So to me, I had to take some off the table there. We've made a lot of money in crypto, obviously. I think a lot of you have as well. So let's put that money in our pocket and see where we go. So that's sort of my take on crypto right now. And then I even said it in the tweet that I have to do some more technical analysis, because I want to get back in. And there's no doubt about that. So we have to find some levels, and we will talk. I'm talking about this. I don't even have the chart up, but you know, we'll find some levels here that we're going to look at. This is Ethereum, and it's going to be just an interesting ride for crypto. Sorry, this is Bitcoin. You know, we could retest 30 grand. So then it'll look pretty good getting out at 40. But at the same time, it could just rip up during the weekend. There's talks about Russia obviously banning crypto. We talked about that on the show yesterday, mining, things like that. So yeah, there's the little tick down right through 40,000. So, you know, naturally, look at the momentum to the downside here. So, I mean, it's a big one. We should have learned our lesson, probably trim something at 50, but hey, it looked like it was a bounce. So now we're not going to let 40 go too far. And it already, like the reason why we got out, look, like it already wicked down. September, we tried 40, broke it and bounced back. This time we tried 40 and we didn't bounce. So let's see what happens here. I think the next stop is probably 30. Then unfortunately, if we take that, then it's game over. So that's why it's like right now, get something out, because honestly, I don't really want to trim my Microsoft. I don't want to trim some of these high valuation names in NASDAQ. So I'd rather just trim crypto.
Speaking of some of the older tech, there was a note on IBM, guys. We mentioned this when it first came out. I want to say about a month ago, there was rumors of this happening. So it looks like Francisco Partners acquiring IBM's healthcare data and analytic assets. That's that Watson project. So they've finally got a deal to sell Watson for IBM. There's basically no reaction whatsoever for that, but worth mention for IBM. Before we go any further, Miss V's in the building, ready to go. Good morning.
Good morning, team. Happy Friday to you all. I wish you a wonderful, profitable day. Also, happy birthday to our good friend Marlon. Guys, please like this video and let's get it started, Brandon.
Let's indeed get it started. Lots to get through here as we head towards the open. We're going to have Michael Noss come through, talk a little bit about some relative strength, relative weakness once again this morning. Important environment to understand that concept for sure. So that's coming up here in a few minutes. But maybe a note, guys, just on the overall, where we are at this point in the market, because yesterday was pretty intense as we sat here into the close yesterday, the selling picking up pretty heavy, to be honest. But I mean, we're back to 44.50 here on the S&P, trying to hold right now. In fact, we're ticking back to the upside. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens today.
Yeah, it's it was great to have Daniel Shea on, and one of the things that we go over it all the time. I know Arun talks about the levels, and we'll show them up here, but it got reiterated. The key levels that you were seeing on multiple indices. It was the NASDAQ. We should have showed that the correction territory. When you start thinking about the SPY, though, it's like there's still some room for the S&P to come back, and I think that's one of those things. There's a lot of names that are holding up here, and like I said yesterday. Even the names that did really well, like getting defensive early, you lose some of the gains like last year, late in the year, in some of the tech by shifting some of it into things like Procter and Pepsi, which I like. But to me, I'm selling those, selling some of that, like yesterday I mentioned in Pepsi, up at those tops, because I still think if we do get a bigger correction, it's going to bleed to the overall market. Even the things that have been working are going to start to pull back. Like yesterday, what was the only thing that was up? Was energy? Like everything but, I think, at that case. And at some point, you start bleeding into everything, and then we're going to start to have deeper retracements. Now, obviously, the SPY is held up. Now it's starting to turn. I mean, Apple's kind of in a bit of a channel. The overall market is sort of teetering. And now, keep in mind, we always jump back and forth between day trading when you have moves like this, and the only play to make is to either you're short or, like you saw in the afternoon, you get crushed. And then you get a move like this today, and well, I mean, you got a bit of a bottom and a capitulation. There could be some longs to be had today off those lows, right? So as much as we're talking about the overall shift, and then big earnings coming next week, Apple earnings next week, after Netflix, you kind of feel like what can they say that won't have the market react negatively to them. But there's still day trades to be had. So we can't ignore the fact that you are going to get some bounces. You will get some gap fills back in the other direction. That's how markets work. I remember back to 2008, and some of the best trades and best days as a day trader wasn't just like punching short when you had the shares available. It was finding good levels and then buying in front of those good levels, and you get these great bounce backs when everyone was in the midst of the panic. So you have to be willing to look both ways as a day trader. But sure, are we rolling over? Are we finding ourselves breaking down in a trend break in the overall market? Sure, we're absolutely seeing that. And truth of the matter is, you do this long enough, you see the Fed balance sheet go up, you see money creation get out of control, and there's pullbacks. And there's always a pullback, and then the market just goes higher eventually. So you can try to time it. It's hard to do perfectly, but as long as you're aware of these things in a general sense, you find ways to pick the names that you like on the way back down. Make sure, I like taking profit on the way up. That's just, it can be conservative that way as well, but you find your ways to do that. Stick to names that you're comfortable with, and know what it is ahead of time that you'd like to buy. So when the market does go down and crash, you're not panicking, thinking about, what's the name that I like? And then I think you can be okay. But heck, if we hold this double bottom, there's all the reason in the world that you could have a little bit of a bounce this morning.
Yeah. I mean, I only have long. I mean, on this, and thank you to Raphael there as well. And I just talked about it on the chat. There are obviously, accounts that are impersonating all of us. So please, guys, report it. It's at TraderTV Sean. There's one with an underscore right now that is going around. And I mean, they're even messaging my friends. And I told you this story before. It's happening again. Even happened yesterday again. So, make sure that it's not Neil or I messaging you or Brendan or Valeria or Trader Prad messaging you guys. We'll answer messages. And I just was responding to Mike. So shout out to you, Mike, there on the chat as well. And happy birthday to Marlon. I heard Valeria say that. So what's up, my man, on that one. And so here it is. This is the sticky note. I'll put it in the chat again, but Peloton's on there, Microsoft, Disney, Neo, XOM. I think the market has a lot lower to go. It's just a matter of these rate hikes. We'll see where it goes. I mean, I'm looking at Coinbase here. It's at its lows as well. Neil just talked about some of the reasons why the market's going lower or could possibly rally. I mean, we're talking about day trading, right? And so who knows what's going to happen today? You're down 0.7. We were down a lot lower. We are coming off of some of these bottoms, which is what I like. There's a lot of names at key levels here, like a Microsoft. We talked about that at $3 so that should be pretty interesting as well. Palantir's down pretty low. But Henry, you said something in the chat that makes a lot of sense to me, and I think should make a lot of sense to everybody. As long as you're understanding of where this market's going, we don't need to be running away from stocks right now, right? The reason why I sold crypto is because really that's up in the air. Nobody has any idea where crypto is going to go in the next year, 6 months, month. Who knows where crypto is going to go? But we do have an idea. There's enough data. And unfortunately, our charts aren't loading the data, but there's enough data right now. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. You just talked about the SPYs. I was going to talk about the NASDAQ, but the Qs aren't loading. Let's see if the SPYs want to load. Yeah, but there's enough data in the market and enough people watching the S&P and NASDAQ that they can come in. Oh, yeah, nope, not working either. I was going to try to get the 200
Maybe
period
flick the screen. Just like flick it.
What about if I throw something at it? Anyways, so what I'm getting at is that I think there's enough people out there, hedge funds and so on and so forth, and we'll talk to Michael Noss soon, that will come out and support some of these bottoms. And we'll just see if they hold. I've put money to work. The last time was Goldman Sachs at 350. That's probably going to wind up being a mistake, like I said. So we'll see if that works. That was the latest one that we bought yesterday. It was 359 before the tank happened again yesterday. We did get going there on Goldman. You see 358, yesterday before we started Tank City on that one. But I think this is an area where you nibble, right? You're not going to see me nibbling in stocks that I don't have positions in, in current positions. I don't want to add to some of my positions. I'm very underweight in banks, so that's why we picked up some Goldman. I still think for AMD, NVIDIA, things like that, and we'll talk about Netflix after we talk with Michael, but I think a lot of these names, they still have lower to go, and unfortunately, we've enjoyed such a great run. What was it, 27% in the NASDAQ last year? So right now, we're giving back 13 of that. I mean, it still sucks. Like, it's money that we really never had in the first place, but you see your unrealized gains, and that's part of the problem, right? I was talking with Marissa about this last night. It's like, you get, actually it wasn't Marissa, it was my mother. I talked to my mother on the way home on the car last night, and I was like, oh, how's dad doing and everything? And she's like, oh man, this market is like driving him crazy. And I'm like, what? I just talked to him a week ago, right? But that's the thing. It's like in 1 week, we've changed sort of the way we're thinking. And I mean, I'm actually, Neil, I think the Fed goes 2, maximum 3 times. And I'm talking about until the next election. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think this is going to be a horrendous move in the rates. So
well, he has got the confirmation. If his job wasn't secure, I think that might be a different story. But I think with the confirmation, I think they're going to be, they have full bore to go aggressive. But I kind of see what you're getting at, because obviously
the market,
there's going to be a ton of
market.
There's going to be a ton of pressure.
They're managing like what, $30 trillion of debt or something?
We were actually, the conversation we were having, because we were talking about like debt money, the Fed balance sheet with Robin Lucas this morning, and about
Robin Lucas.
I was literally showing them the chart of the Fed balance sheet. I was like, just have a look at this and then understand why you get market cycles. And it's like,
where's the hold my beer thing here?
I know, why not? But I love it because everyone just wants to learn about it. But like, I see where you're getting at for sure, because there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure to protect people's savings. I always say I try not to look at my RSP unless I'm going to make a decision. Unless I'm literally buying or selling something that day, I'm not looking at it, because I find I always get myself thinking too much if I'm looking at it.
And I said that's my new strategy, man. It's like I'm not selling anything. I'm just going to try to buy the best quality companies and names that I can when we get dips like this. And I think that's the best strategy. I mean, I did sell Teladoc, which turns out to be good. Sold anything in the last week. Any past day, you've been winning on this point. So anyways, all right, that's enough talk about the market, but I think that's, hopefully it helped a little bit of you, so you can see sort of where our mentality is. I love to talk. I mean, Brendan's going to talk to Michael Noss, but maybe he can come back to us, Brendan, if he has some time, because I'd just like to hear his overall macro view on the market.
Absolutely.
Maybe if that's not part of your schedule, you can throw him back here, Brendan, because I know you guys sort of have some things on docket.
Yeah, absolutely. We can. It's an important day to understand, I think, from a higher level, as we're saying, what is happening. As mentioned, Michael Noss joining us from Trade Ideas as per usual on a Friday morning. Interesting look here for the market once again, Michael, as we head into the weekend after pretty intense selling came in at the end of the day there yesterday. Give us your rundown here. Again, we're going to talk a little bit, more high level, trends, relative strength, relative weakness here, but overall, where are we at in your mind?
Well, first of all, anytime you guys want me to come on talk charts, I'm standing here all day doing just that. So I love your guys' community. I love chatting about charts, so we can do that. But I was just listening before I came on, and pretty much everything there was pretty much spot on. What I will have, and I've got in my presentation, so I really picked a good time for this 4-part series I'm doing on relative strength, as in my opinion, Neil was saying, right, quite often these best rallies, the best bounce come in bear market, especially in 2008. And I noticed the same thing. My best trades during this market crash were on the long side, looking for things that are reversing, because, the market will go down 5-10%. Well, then it needs to get up 20% just to make up that level. So you can get these wild bounces. I will say for the SPY, I had been watching, and I've been talking about it on my channel and blogs and everything, about that 450 level on the SPY. And we definitely broke that yesterday. And we have a chart up here as well. I don't have a chart of the IWM, but that's the small cap stuff that a lot of us like to play. And that's even more damage. So there's definitely some damage that went on here. But the last few days I've been talking about relative strength, the last few sessions, and I'm this one, and then I have a kind of a wrap up in the next one again. And I think we picked a perfect time. But before I was talking about indicators and ways to do it like this, right now, as a relative strength trader myself, this is my favorite time, because although I'm not doing much, I'm able to build lists of things that aren't selling. So if you really want to boil down relative strength to its core, is you look for when the market is pulling back and you look at what's not selling. And what we're doing there is we're trying to say, okay, what are institutions not liquidating? What are things that the institutions, the big guys, the hedge funds, that type of thing, what are they leaving alone? Because when the overall pressure of the selling in the market ends, even if it's just for a few day bounce, those things, generally speaking, are going to have the best bounce. And the analogy that I like to use is one that my buddy Steve at Trade Ideas came up with, and it's kind of like holding a balloon underwater. You hold that balloon underwater, and that's representing the selling of the overall market. And eventually, when it lets go, you notice that these things pop a little higher. So what I'm going to do today is look at that box, right? That's the last, say, 10 days, give or take, of the overall market. And I'm going to go through some charts now of different things referencing that box as a way to help you train your eye to what relative strength is. If you're not going to use indicators, if you're not going to use the techniques I use in kind of the last two sessions. So the first chart here is very interesting to me. So this is VEU. It's a ETF that basically encompasses the entire world minus the US markets. So, it has Brazil and Canada and India and all of the different ETFs along the world, minus all the US securities. And you can see, although selling a bit, not nearly as dramatic for the last period, that last, 10 days, give or take, than the overall market, right? So, that's your clue right away, right? So make a list of ETFs, of things that you like to trade. And when the market is selling, go through and say, okay, which ones aren't getting hit or aren't getting hit as bad? So by doing that, I was able to zoom into kind of the next chart here, which is KWEB, right? So this is a Chinese internet ETF. And you can see actually up over the same time that the market is selling. So this is kind of then where I'll start to look and to take my focus and say, okay, the market makers or the market players as a whole, institutions, large traders, this kind of thing, they're buying KWEB while they're selling the market. So, to coin a phrase from another network, is there's always a bull market somewhere, and we need to go in. And as relative strength traders, we need to say, what are they not selling? It doesn't mean that we buy anything when the market's tanking like this, but we make lists and we wait for these things to the market to bounce, and then we can buy into these bounces as well. So the next one here, which is incredibly strong, is Brazil. So this is kind of just an ETF that makes up a bunch of the largest Brazil companies. And you can see, again, as the market was tanking, focusing on the same box and keeping the chart of the SPY in your head, these things have been doing fantastically. So part of the question that, will get spawned from this as Canadian or American traders is, well, how do I participate in this? Do I have to go open an account somewhere else? And no, one of the benefits of the US markets is they have ADRs, which are just foreign companies listed on their exchange. So you can trade Chinese securities and Brazil-based securities right in the same account that you're trading your US securities at. So just a bit of a broaden the mind. So what I've done within Trade Ideas is I basically just said, okay, so the SPY right now is at the low end of its 10-day range. And I can just go ask the system, show me things that are in the high end of their 10-day range. And it's a very quick and easy way to say, hey, what is not selling? What are they not hitting? Because that's where I want to be involved and that's where I want to look at. So I've got a list of a couple stocks here, starting with CINT, which is putting in this really long low base here. And you can see over the last 10 days or so has actually been in a bit of an uptrend. So this is a Brazilian software company. I really like the look of this one. If we break out of this low base to the upside, so 14, 15 bucks, that's where I would get involved, right? Stop over that, under that last swing low. A couple American ones for people who want to stick in the American market. This is Nerdy, NRDY. It's a clever ticker there. Same kind of thing. Over the last 10 days, when they're hitting everything in the market, they're leaving this one alone. So the selling on this one may be done. I'm looking at about $5 a share to see if we get involved there. Next one is UPLD, which is a work management software company. So like a Slack or something, I guess. Same thing. Over the last few days, when they're hitting the market, they're not hitting this one at all. And then last but not least is RDHL. And this is just an Israeli company. So again, the ability to trade on the US market, but not US securities when the rest of the world isn't getting hit in the same way the US market is. So for this one, I'm watching about $3 a share.
Great look. I love the fact that you left off the RSI indicator itself, and just as you said, get that visual representation of the market itself versus anything that is obviously showing a lot of relative strength. Michael Noss, Chartered Market Technician for Trade Ideas. We appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lots of great ideas there heading into the weekend, guys. It's important to, as he said, have those lists, understand what is following the market and what is maybe holding up a little bit better.
Lots of great trade ideas.
I love the great pun. I love it.
Go. Yeah,
that's perfect. And to be honest, like the first thing I looked up that VEU, I was kind of curious, like what's in there. There's like 3,600 names. It's all world. It's a Vanguard all world, but it's an interesting list, especially if you wanted. I guess
get some exposure.
You get some exposure, and most of it's in Europe, like 40% in Europe. Things that you would expect to be in there, like Tencent's big in there. Taiwan Semiconductor is one of the biggest things in there.
Tencent is in there?
Yeah, well, it's all world. So like the biggest.
Oh, it's all world.
So all of the biggest holdings, like ASML is going to be a top 10 holding in there. Nestle is going to be a top 10 holding. Like that makes some sense. I don't know I didn't check what the management fees are, but you made the good point. If it's that big, you got to make sure you're checking in on some of those management fees for those ETFs if you're looking at investing in those. But yeah, some great ideas there certainly to be sure, and a lot for us to cover in this half an hour. And I'm loving that we get like different perspectives. We talk some macro, we're talking some day trades, we're talking some news with Peloton, and then we have some upgrades and downgrades as well.
Yep, let's go see.
Hi. Yeah, let's talk. I was talking to Valeria. Let's talk about upgrades and downgrades here. Netflix, guys, we were just saying, yeah, benchmark raising their price target, but typical with any kind of earnings report, you're going to get analyst moves both directions. So some will increase their price target, some will cut. That's the case for Netflix. Yep, almost 20% still. Beyond Meat on here, Apple, Peloton to the upside as well, Adobe, Palantir, PayPal, and UAL from yesterday. PayPal is an interesting one today. There was a number of negative notes on that one today, guys.
Yeah, I mean, UAL yesterday was the market overall, early in the morning when the market was rallying, you had the airlines getting crushed. Peloton upgrade there. Let's be honest, right? Like, when a stock gets depressed like this and they have a high valuation, overall, I understand we're going to trade market movement, but if they're going to be, layoffs are not good. I'm not happy about anyone losing their job. But if a company is not making money right now and has been spending like crazy, then looking to control those costs makes some sense. So whether or not they're going to be doing this halt on, I guess, production, who cares? I mean, it happens or it doesn't happen, and we'll get the truth soon enough. But certainly, it looks like they are going to be cutting costs aggressively, which at some point is going to make it a little bit more appealing because that's a way that they can improve the underlying fundamentals of the stock. So, sometimes you just actually want to hear that out of a company. Ultimately, I expected that their press release they couldn't come out and be like, oh, that's everything in that document that was reported is true. Like the CEO can't say that. But Peloton, you got to be willing to go both directions here today. Is that level from yesterday, which we're looking at, and that was that afternoon, 27.30, that we're short in the afternoon. I know Prab was short off of it. I know it's the same price Sean got out of the long at the bottom. It's the same price that it retraced from. So you got to look at that level. If it gets broken, I think it can recover. But other than that, it's a short until it isn't. And you already mentioned like Coinbase at 208, I mean GameStop at 100. There's some interesting levels coming into play too. The Square's at a big level as well. So there's no shortage of things to look at.
Yeah, I didn't even look at Square. I was okay. So we can just talk about Peloton quickly. It's the number one name on our watch list. Brendan's going to talk about that in a minute. We have Peloton here. People are asking, what about the long? What about the short? So here on the sticky note, we'll push this up again. You guys can come check it out on Twitter. Please retweet it if you do. Check this out as well. But Peloton was amazing yesterday. My trades aren't showing up, unfortunately, from yesterday. But I think if you get back to 27, then we could try to short near 27. Or I want to play it on momentum on a break. So that's what I'm talking about here on Peloton. And if you can see, if we zoom in a little bit here, 27, I got you guys to zoom back out to see 27. So 27, Neil just talked about that level right there. If it bumps up here, we'll short it into 27. But what I'm really thinking here is a 25 break. So there's really nothing here. It's held it off the pre-market. It's more of a psychological level. One more time, I know there was a lot of options that were being purchased yesterday. It was the biggest option name in the market yesterday, obviously. So we'll see what happens here today. I mean, probably AMC and GME also being played on the option side. Probably everything, actually, to be honest with you. But yesterday was Peloton. And if we don't hold 25 off the open, then we want to smash that to the short side. So I'm not going long at all on Peloton until we either break above 27. So that's going to be my long, above 27. And the good thing about that one is if we're wrong, we can get out right away, because if we go long 27 and it breaks back below, we have like 26.50, 26 that we can use as an out. So it's going to be $1 hit. Okay, we'll take that. And then on the downside is, well, hopefully we don't, but we will. And on the downside 25, if that breaks, then maybe we can retest some of these bottoms of 24 yesterday. So let's just see where it goes. We'll play the momentum off early. We haven't looked at the imbalance locator yet today. Ford, look, Ford's been a sell for a while here. We've talked about that. They got way over excited here on the daily chart. So we'll look at Ford to come through, and here's the daily here's a 20-minute. Just been a nasty couple days. We were just at 25 3 or 4 days ago, right? So Ford definitely taking it on the chin right now. That's down almost 15% here in 2 days, so that's ugly. Nike with a buy. Just trying to see if there's anything else here. A lot of buys, which is surprising, which is good. And we'll wait to see NASDAQ not out yet. So that's the other thing. 925 NASDAQ will come out. But right now, it's actually looking pretty good. Caterpillar, I thought I saw, there's Goldman, AXP, there's Procter, Visa, McDonald's, UNH. So it's just a lot of high quality names coming in. Home Depot, Merck, Nike, Verizon, Morgan, so AT&T. I don't know if these are, I said high quality and then I say AT&T, but these are dividend paying stocks, ones that names people may chase in a down market. So no surprise that these are all bids. It should be an interesting morning as the NASDAQ's kind of just hovering, doesn't know what to do.
All right, let's bring in Arun here and get a check of the overall market. As we said, important day to understand what is possible, I guess, as far as levels are concerned. Arun, what are you looking at?
All right, well, we got quite the move in the latter half of the day. Kind of worked out perfect. The read was to fade anything into 45.80. So here we are, 100 points lower, 130 points lower. I think the market needs a break. So what I'm looking to do is, it seems like that 44.30 is somewhat of a support. I don't really trust the bottom. What I'm looking for is if we can get below 44.30, put in a new low, and then come back above. I'd like to go for a long, use 43.90 as a stop. That's one option. That's for the long. The other option is for this market to rally into 4,500 and then start looking for shorts against the 45.50. So again, wide ranges. Expect this. When the market ranges get wider, that means your risk profile does have to expand quite a bit, actually. So two options there: longs on a fake move or false move or fake breakdown through the low, which would be 44.30. go for the long there if we can get that fake move. And then the shorts would be north of 4,500 into 4,550. So a wide range there. You just got to wait for it to set up, especially when it's that wide. You got to be patient enough and wait for the market to set up. But those are the only two trades. Just like yesterday morning, we're trading at a price where there's not really a whole lot to do. Let the market decide what it wants to do, whether it's to the downside, giving you an option to go long, or whether it's to the upside, giving you an option to go short. But those are the two trades and nothing in the middle. And that's the only thing I think we can really do. It is coming towards the end of the week. It's been quite the week. So I think you may have some activity towards the end as well.
Thanks, Arun. Yeah, important day for the entire market, I think, as we head into the weekend as well. Let's have a look at what else is moving around here in the pre-market. Guys, if you're in need of a absolutely free resource every day, Miss V will help you out in the chat with the link. That is it, to the watch list that we send out every morning. Let's go over some of those right now. Netflix, the first one, it was the subscriber growth forecast that missed pretty badly, worth mentioning. Overall, I mean, the numbers are kind of in line with expectations or slightly to the downside, but they forecast 2.5 or 2.6 million new additional subscribers in the current quarter. That was down from prior 6.5, so big miss there. Most analysts were talking about 4 or somewhere in the range of 4, so big miss nevertheless for Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix is a nasty ride here, and the thing is that it was the forecast, right? There was people, investment banks, analysts calling for 25 million or so subs over the year, and they came out and said probably for the quarter they'll be like at 2.5 million, something like that. So that's an absolutely dreaded number for them. Netflix comes down, they touch 400 on a chart. Netflix is just, you're back to literally March of 2020 right now. So I think Netflix is way overdone here on the downside. It wasn't so bad. I mean, they're making money. They're going to be free cash flow positive coming up next quarter, I believe they said. And from what I've read and heard anyways, is that this is supposed to be an absolutely monster year for content. They have Bridgerton coming back for season 2. They have Squid Game coming through again as well. And apparently, even Prad the other day was talking, I think it was last week, he went through some of the names there of what's to come, and it's nothing but big time releases for Netflix. And I mean, look at where we are. This is what I said, March right here of 2020. So the pandemic was great for them, but not as great as other stocks. They were stuck in this channel and then finally broke out past 600, ripped to 7, and then now you're down here to 4. So it's going to have a 3 handle on it today. My bull case theory on this is, and I know I said it for Peloton, Peloton's going to be a little different than Netflix, but Netflix is an acquisition target, in my opinion, for M&A right now. A stock like Apple that's been sitting there on so much cash. Look, we just had Microsoft, right, spend, what was it, $67 billion on ATVI? Okay, now you have Netflix down here. It's going to be sub 200 billion, sub 200 billion, right? For somebody, Microsoft, the cash on hand for Microsoft, I'm going to have to look it up, but they have billions on cash, right? And they need to spend some money, Apple. So I'm wondering if Apple or somebody like that wants some content, wants to put it all together, comes out and takes down Netflix. Look, Netflix has been talked about in the gaming. They're getting into gaming right now. They obviously have a great app, but they need more. They need more than content. There needs to be more coming from Netflix. And so if they're not going to do it on guidance, they're going to guide lower for possible subs. So there's subs that are guiding lower, so they need to do something. They're stepping into games. I know Apple has games as well. Right there, what's that news there, Brendo? Yeah, okay.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, okay, so we're just looking at Peloton right now on the screen. The guys are trying to fix that on the board. But anyways, that's my little bull case there for Netflix. As you can see, Brendan's reading about Peloton, so hopefully you guys can see what he's reading about there. And we will fix the board in a second. But that's my opinion, Neil, on Netflix, and without showing any graphics. Oh,
there we go.
Yeah, what's up?
What's interesting about the whole gaming thing with Netflix is before this disaster in the price or I guess the valuation of the company, I would have said that after Activision, it would make sense for Netflix to have been looking to maybe purchase somebody. Maybe that's going to be out the window, at least in the short term, as they're going to be trying to recover here. But if you look at that last channel that got broken, and I'm like, look at the support. And we talked about this in the afternoon, like how how long the support was at 460, and it tried to bounce there. If you're watching the screen, it tried to bounce off of this level in the aftermarket for about 30 seconds, and then when it plowed through it, that's when you got the second capitulation. 390 here stands out just as much as 400 does. 400 is an even number, but the previous roof on that stop, on this stock that was in that channel before, was at 390. So I think if 400 were to break, maybe there's a chance it can catch a 390 bottom. 20% down on a name this big, and the first thing I got to try is think about a long. It's just find a support level. I'm looking 400, I'm looking 390 is the first two, because you're so far removed from levels that I would like to be able to say, I'm wrong on this if I'm short. Like what, at 460? At even 420, I'm not even too confident about that. 460 would make sense. I just don't think we're getting there today. So that's the first thought I have for Netflix. All this said, the valuation probably got trimmed to like probably in the 30s range PE, and that's like, it's cheaper than Disney. So it's like, ultimately speaking, the valuation compression has come back in here, but there could still technically be a ways to go. But that much of a move down, I got to think about first defending along. Like, this isn't the same thing as something which has been grinding down and wedging into a bottom and getting beaten up. Like, this is a monstrous gap to the downside, which risk to reward usually means you want to try to find support to go off of from a risk to reward standpoint. So 400's right here, but 390 does stand out to me. Like this level right over here, that 390 does matter.
Yeah, lots to consider for Netflix. It's worth mentioning as well, guys, like Roku down on that, Disney down on that as well this morning. So dragging the rest of the streamers along with it. Yeah, here's this Peloton headline if you missed it. Aftermarket, they wait until aftermarket to come out and say, yeah, don't worry, we're not going to, in fact, shut down production of our fitness equipment. But they are talking about resizing or rejigging the amount that they are actually producing to be more in line with demand, which is probably a good thing. And the layoffs word was also mentioned in that statement for Peloton, guys.
Well, I mean, yeah, controlling costs. If you're going to control costs, those things are going to be in play. It's going to be hard to see on the daily chart because you do have to go back pretty far in Peloton to get to these levels, and you're all the way into mid-2020, 2020 here, early 2020, when you did eventually have this 29 level, hold and then break out. And if you go further back, and this came into play, it's hard to see, but you go back, was that 25 area, and that's kind of where we're sitting, right now. You go below this, obviously people were talking about if it broke the low yesterday, you can start getting into the 20s and then that 17 bottom. We're not there necessarily yet, but I think that's maybe something worth keeping in mind as this market overall continues to flush. For the time being, like we said, this was that top, ignore this wick, this was that top at 27.30. I'm shorting in front of it. I think if it breaks that price, it's a bit of a breakout. If I catch that short, scalp some out in front of 25. The reason I showed you the daily at that 25 going way back was that's what we're holding essentially right now, right about 25 even. So you'd want to take some profit in front of 25 in the event that I get the short in front of 27. And then if we break, you're looking to get all the way down to that 23 area. Trading outside of the range, I'm not really looking for that play. If it breaks, if we're moving down that far on a short, I think there's going to be some re-entry points there. So the first look is a pop and fade for me on Peloton. Although this is, it's such a big gap, and with the retracement and the forward outlook that they're trying to make there by the CEO, I think it has to be reversed at 27.30 because that was so significant. If you watched it trade in the afternoon, early afternoon, when it got to that price level, it just sat there, wedged up into that, and then barely rolled over. It tested 2 or 3 times right up until that price before finally rolling over with the rest of the market. So I can see that getting broken and then starting to run, because if you're holding a short in this stock, like what a gorgeous area to have a stop level. Like if you've been shorting this for weeks, and you're holding into today, well, you might say, okay, well, after the news hit, that's the top. I'll just trail out there. And anyone that's been short for weeks is deep in the money anyway. So looking at that for a reversal on Peloton, but it's got to come up to me to get that short.
Yeah, I've already talked about Peloton. I will be short 25. It's going to break 25. I'm going to take that short. We talked about that a couple minutes ago, and I think it's a great opportunity to try a short here into $24. I feel like the selling's not done on Peloton. It could break up through $27 right now. And if that happens, then we will reverse the long. But I'm short into 27 just to see what happens, and then we'll bust it through on that one, and then use many more shares, reverse it to the long side if we break above 27. It's gonna be like 27.15 or so. But the pennies, whether or not you take Neil's 27.30 level or 27.10, like it's going to, trust me, when this thing opens up, it's not going to matter about the pennies. I would just say make sure that you cross at least 20 or 30 pennies into whatever level you want. Like if you're going to try to go short 25, and by the way, it should be SSR here. I don't know why this says SSRC. I don't know what that means, but you're not going to be able to go short off the bid unless your system is broken. So that, watch out for that. So when it does break, you may not be able to punch the bid. You're going to sit on the offer. So get ready to sort of cross down. I've already crossed it down as well. So we'll see what happens here, but be very, very weary and careful of that, because you may not be able to get your fill. If you're long, you'll get your fill. Like you're long 25.50 right here and it breaks, then you can punch out whatever price you want, hopefully 28. But if it does break back to the downside, watch out. I still think Peloton, we'll see, but it's been getting absolutely destroyed. I mean, when you're talking about, a stock that comes from 170 at the pandemic highs, basically there, not basically, that is, and then that was only what, Christmas time? Yeah, February. So obviously not February a year ago. So right there, you're down and you're chopped from 160 down to $25. So again, like at some point, there has to be some kind of an enterprise value. I don't know what it is, but what is the market cap here? Are we sub 10 billion yet? Like, I mean, this thing was, hold on a second, let me just check what the market cap is here on Peloton. Yeah, 8 billion, right? Like 8 billion? Like, are we kidding right now? Like, if this is actually worth anything, then someone should come in and buy this stock, or they absolutely have no recurring revenues, no nothing. I still think that they sell some bikes. Obviously, that's not as popular as it was. Gyms reopening. I mean, the rhetoric around Peloton is going to be horrible for a very, very long time. I wonder if the shorts get sort of accelerated here. Can we see an AMC type squeeze play for a couple days? We saw that happen on Beyond Meat. I'm not calling this the next squeeze. I don't have any reason to do that. It's just at some point, the shorts, the options, everything is going to get to be very, very exciting for a lot of players. And whether or not this company is going bankrupt or not, sometimes the market dynamics can let this thing trade higher. So let's wait to see what happens here. An 8 billion valuation, man, considering that it was, at 100 billion or whatever it was, this is just, I mean, it's absolutely clocked down here. I think the highest was 80 billion or something like that. I mean, I guess I can just do the math, right? If it was 8 billion times whatever, up to 170, pretty easy, yeah. So we'll see where it goes, 70, 80 billion at the top. Now you're down to 8 billion. I think there's some buying opportunities here for somebody.
Yeah, it is actually a little bit higher than I thought. It was 8.7 on the short interest for Peloton. So there is something there to think about. Anyways, some of the crypto-related stocks going to be hit as well today, unfortunately. We talked about HUT. We talked about Coinbase a little bit there. I just saw a note on Bit Digital, BTBT. There was a perspective for an offering of up to 23.5 million shares. So be aware. This thing already down 7% here in the pre-market. Not a lot of volume, but anything in this group kind of looking like this today?
Yeah, I mean, if SI was more tradable, I think volume-wise, I'd be talking about Silvergate 100 instead. Coinbase 208, the all-time low, is like this is the one. It's wicked down here. It's had a tremendous amount of support. That's where the big bounce really came from. It's at this support level. It finally made that bottom. We actually have already bounced off it today. So 208.20 is the current low in the pre-market. There's decent enough, not a huge volume, but decent enough volume on Coinbase. And if you sort of subscribe to the theory, and again, you want to make sure you're watching spot prices so you don't get a bit of a crash. It's still looking relatively weak. But if you hold this level at the open, it gives you a pretty clean stop out, even if you want to give it like an extra 50 cents or something like that for a potential run. So this is one of those, don't get married to the idea of only one direction, because if you get a failed breakdown at any one of these types of levels, I'm talking GameStop 100, I'm talking 208 here on Coinbase, there'll be a few others as well. If it breaks this and you trigger into, let's say, a short like the 90s or something like this, and it goes down like 20 or 30 cents and snaps back to the upside, you take out like this consolidation range at 211 and you hold your short through that, and you're probably just asking for a heck of a lot of pain. Like it'll probably be at 214, 15 pretty quickly. So I'm willing to be in the reverse side of this pretty quickly. It is setting up that you could, if you just wanted to jam a 211 with a $3 stop, that's not a horrible risk to reward either, because you get pre-market highs at 215, pop over to the 15-minute. Like, look at the size of the gap that you have to be able to be filled here. If it goes halfway to fill in the gap to previous resistance, that's a good long with $3 worth of risk to that 8 level. So you've got to be willing to play some of these things in both directions. I'm going to have my stop for 208. So I am going to go short, and believe me, I'm almost talking myself into putting a stop almost right now and just taking either direction, whichever it breaks at 211. But the 08's already in for Coinbase. But I have to be cognizant that you don't want to get trapped in the bottom. I said this a few days ago, and it's how I saved a day by not getting trapped at the bottom. And then the things that do work out, you can hold on to, but don't get on days like this. NASDAQ, the 10% correction, everyone talking doom and gloom. Those are the worst possible days. If it ends up being a short day, great. But those are the worst possible days to get trapped in the morning in a short and the market reverses. You've got to make sure you have an out, whether it's going to be back up to this 209.5 or whether it's at 211. You just got to have one if you're shorting.
So we'll talk, we'll stay in the same space here. We'll go DeFi as well, and we'll talk about SoFi quickly here. So again, I guess they're trying to be a bank, right? But anyways, same kind of thing here when we're talking about crypto. We're talking about crazy valuations. SoFi, what a tale of 2 days in one yesterday. As we go long off the open, we were loving life with SoFi. It had some nice bottoms there at 14 bucks. So double long, out. Best out right there. And then we tried the long all afternoon. Was able to make some money on some of these trades, which that was good. Thank God we were able to get out of that before we started losing everything on Softy. But then SoFi comes back down, breaks through 15, and we get out. So right now, I think there's going to be some kind of action here around $15. That's right where we're at right now. So that was a level that we are looking at. We do have that dump off in. I mean, I didn't keep the charts going. I stopped them at 430 or whatever. So it goes down to 1450, but I don't really need that. It's just the close here yesterday. So we did bounce a little bit up to 1490. So I am kind of looking at some of these bottoms here for SoFi, 1475-ish. I'm going to discount this move down. I mean, the market was getting killed there on Netflix and everything like that. So I'm looking at this level right here, 1475, that held for SoFi. That's also a great level to smash to the downside. So let's just wait to see what happens on SoFi. I mean, if the market wants to kill these names today, which it seems like they will. You're now down 1%. We tried to get going on NASDAQ, bounced off view up at 14,700, and now you're starting to go back to the downside. I mean, we're at 14.7 now, but we bounced off this 14,750. For me, SoFi is a very, very dangerous name right now. If you take out the pre-market high, great, but that means the NASDAQ obviously needs to rally. So I think this is just a name that you watch today. And if it comes down to some key levels, that's the daily chart. Where's my 20-minute chart? Like we did yesterday, this 14 area into here should be something once again that gets supported, and it did yesterday off the open, and then we gave everything back, but SoFi still held up a little bit. So I'm looking at 14 of something to do down here at like 14. Like I said, 75 maybe as a starter position. But right now, SoFi, I just have real low bids. If we're lucky enough to get something near 14, we'll take it. But I do want to keep this on my radar. It's on one of my other screens here to make sure that we watch, because SoFi has to be on everybody's radar. I mean, just the volume it's been doing, man. Look at this. Look at this increased volume over the last couple of days on bank charter. So SoFi, definitely a watcher. If it comes down to 14, I'm all over that thing.
All right, let's go on to some of the bigger tech names. Important day, obviously, as we said, for some of these names to hold up if the overall market is going to hold up. I mean, I put Apple on the board there, NVIDIA as well, both kind of at or near the bottom of the range from yesterday when we got that huge sell-off into the close, but they're trying to hold. I mean, NVIDIA down 2% here around this 230, 235 area, which is below pretty much anything in 3-month lows, in fact, for NVIDIA down here 2%. Apple a little bit better off here in the pre-market.
Yeah, just quickly on NVIDIA, 230 is the level I kind of have on this one. So I'm looking at a 230 bottom. I like Coinbase here because of the price area it's at. NVIDIA just feels it has to drop a little bit more for me to like that bounce back. But it is a similar double bottom where if it holds, you could have a breakout. But I'm kind of shooting for 230 if it does drop, much like Home Depot. I'm kind of waiting for it to get to that price. Home Depot, the 390 level, I like for support. I'm looking 230 NVIDIA.
Wow, okay, this is coming a little faster than we thought here. Microsoft right now, it's on the sticky note, and we talked about it because we liked it off the sticky note, obviously. And a big shout out to Chris as well. Thank you so much. A new People's Trader graphic. I love this one. Batista here, obviously. It looks like Batista there. So thank you so much. I like that bull. This is a great graphic. Thank you so much to Chris for sure. Tesla fan. Okay, good for that one. Oh, what I want to go to, though, was the sticky note, and thank you again for that. We wrote on here now, Microsoft. It looks like we might have found support there at 299 in the aftermarket yesterday, but again, what's the difference between 299 and 300? So we'll see. It looks like it's going to try to break 300 right now. I think this is something, do I have a bid in? I do not, but I think that that's something that we should maybe consider right now, getting that bid in there for Microsoft as we test these lows again. I mean, here it is, 300. We've bounced off there a couple times. We'll see if it does it again. And it's just using key levels. That's it. Like, it's not... I mean, do I think we crash here off the open? Yeah, it looks like that is what we're going to do. So I'm not sure about putting some of these low bids, man. Who knows? We'll see where we go. But right now, Microsoft, I like this protection level. I like it more than NVIDIA or AMD or any of those, just because, I mean, the level Neil gave was low, so that's good if you can get that. But it's just with all this news happening now, I don't know, man. At least Microsoft's only down 0.24. The market's down 0.98. So that's why I have a little bit of relief here, maybe at 300. So let's test it. There's only 5 minutes to go. And just keep it on here quickly here, because let's put up the imbalance locator, because it's going to come out right now for the NASDAQ. So bang, it's 25 right now. So you can see Microsoft not really moving on that imbalance. If anything, starting to go back up to the upside. I don't see any major names on here. Fuel Cell as a sell. Apple as a buy. Okay, so that's nice to see there in the market. So they're coming in to buy some of these names. There's Microsoft as a buy. And you can see there's Netflix, guys, as a buy. So Netflix just takes out 400. I don't think this buy is going to matter, though. It's already done 3 million shares. Peloton there as a buy. So some NASDAQ names came out as we thought. There's NVIDIA, Neil, there was a sell, 200,000 gone now. So anyways, just be very, very careful here. These imbalances are starting to move some of these stocks, Brendo.
The paired volume on that list, very, very high as well, just noticing that. Quickly, guys, BSFC up huge here in the pre-market. 7 is this high from when this thing first listed. This is 7, so an important level. We'll see what happens when it gets to 7. Very thinly traded, huge range on this already today. If it does get above 7 and start to hold, watch out for the highs on this thing. Otherwise, we could see lower, guys.
Okay, so I won't bother mentioning that because I basically have about the same thing as you, Brendan. Although I'm giving a tighter stop at the open in case it breaks about the 50 to 665 range. SVFD is the other low floater, 2 million float, I think, with no news. It gapped up and consolidated. Here's 520 for you. I'm looking pop and fade here, but the fade is a little bit closer to $6. So that probably has to travel a little bit further before we get too excited about it. Digital World Acquisition, DWAC here, is another one that I'm looking at off the open. It's actually held up above this 77 level you want to see. Yesterday, it got a pass at 85 to 85 to 87. I'm looking for that as secondary resistance. The first resistance level is from the afternoon, and it's right here, right now, at 82.30. So this is the one I'm probably going to have this level 2 up. Right at the open, because you're basically right at that top. So if it rolls over from here, I'd be trying to short into a really tight stop on DWAC with just 3 minutes to go. Like, I'm not sitting in it because I actually think I might as well just wait for the market to open up, because if it's a failed break, I'm going to try to get into it on the way back down.
All right, position right now, Disney comes through, 141.20. We're in this one right now. We were talking about it again. It's on our sticky note, and we talked about it on here. Let's just see what happens with the Netflix move, because, again, you know, Netflix talked about losing market share, so what does that mean? Either Disney's gaining market share, or we're expecting the same kind of negative report from Disney, right? And so that's the worry here for Disney, is that it's already quite valued here. I'm going to give this down to 138. I mean, if Disney wants to break, I want to see it break new lows down here. So 140 is this past low on the 20-minute chart. I want to see it break lower, lower, lower. And then if we do get a little bit of a rally in Netflix, we should get 1 one in Disney. So I'm going to trade this name instead of Netflix. I just feel like this is, I mean, I might trade Netflix as well, but I like where we are here on some key levels. We touched 140. Let's see what we can do here with only 2 minutes to go. So this is going to be a name that I'm going to be all over here, obviously, as we are already into it. So, my daily chart crashed again for me. So I'm going to get that up, and then we'll see where we go. Yeah, I don't want my charts crashing these days, guys. You're going to have to look back and find some key levels maybe as this market gets ready to open. So my bid is now there for Microsoft as well.
Yeah, 90 seconds to go. It looks like maybe a slight bounce overall in the market just a couple of seconds ago. Yeah, I mean, it's not too much. I mean, about 0.75% to the downside on the NASDAQ and 0.5% and less now on the ES. Peloton, we talked about this one, but got the order out. It just spiked up to that $26 level. Still shooting 27. I think that's going to be that price area. And watch out Coinbase. Coinbase actually breaking up to that 211. So it looks like it's trying to go. I think somebody already mentioned that Netflix on the imbalance had gotten back to 400. It's in the same range. Netflix is just 400 to about 397 at the open. I'm in front of that 390. I'll give it to 93s, where my bid is going to be at in that 390 level for a dip buy. I don't have a breakout on Netflix idea, but I am looking to buy the dip if I can catch it. It's just down so far. This is going to be a pure day trade. Miss V just made the move to get over to the bell. And we talked about SVFD. I did not talk about DAT Chat. That's the one I missed out on. So DAT Chat, huge flush yesterday's action right at the close show. Here's your support at 285. That's the big level on that chat. Then 325. This level right here, I'm looking for a fade. So 285 to 385. I'm shorting up to 325, I should say. If that breaks, I'd be out of any DAT short if 325 breaks.
All right, so let's check out Peloton quickly. We're going to watch that. Just checking the imbalances. Ford still a sell. Pets here as a sell right now. Palantir as a sell. Disney as a sell. So yeah, a lot of sells starting to ramp up right now into this market. This could be a nasty open. Get ready, Peloton right now at $26. So we're going to wait for 27. We don't mind taking the short here, but at the same time, we are getting ready to get blasted out of that.
Oh, there's guys on 2 and 1.
2 and 1. Hello. Thank you, Ms. V. Yeah, sorry about that. That market opened up pretty quickly there. All right, so I'm on Peloton right now. Let's just see where we go. Trying to watch this name. We told you it'd be a little bit violent off the open, up to 26.50 right now for Peloton. There goes Disney. So we have a nice little win here. There goes Microsoft as well. A downside, sorry, not there goes Microsoft. Microsoft now $300.25. So a name that we're in now, looking at that 299 as a breaking spot.
Yeah, the BSFC tested and broke that 650 level. Looks like I could have given it more room. I'm going to try to get back into it because it rejected before 7, but it's Coinbase right at that 208 level that I got to watch. So Coinbase right at that 208 level. I am still going to take the short if it breaks. There it goes. It broke. I got 207.70s. As always, I don't want to get trapped in any crazy kind of a reversal. So I am going to scalp some of it out. Just make sure I'm taking some profit on Coinbase. I do not need this immediately reversing on me, but now that it's broken, I'm going to try to hold the rest. Piton still have that offer, but BSFC. So I go from a win to look at BSFC. That's top wick, and then it fades right back. I got to find a way back into BSFC. That flush right after I got out.
Okay, so right now, Microsoft, yes, sir, starting to go. Let's go, Softy, let's go. Right now, no Raptors, no problem, as Microsoft ripping up $1 now in the money for Microsoft, and we're starting to get elevated a little bit here. So this is a great sign for the market and a great sign for your boy, because let's take another piece out right now. Bang, there it is, a nice little win right there for Softy. As we talked about defending the 300 level, it's on the sticky note. Here we go for Softy. Nice little move back up to the upside as the Microsoft and the NASDAQ, starting to go. So obviously Microsoft right now, yes, sir. Okay, Microsoft, we'll have another up to 302 and change. We just took some out there at 302. The high, that 303. We like a 303 break here as well. So let's get a piece out now, and good trade here for Softy.
Yeah, and Netflix does not make a dip. It only runs to the upside. So you're about that 400 range, just going back and forth. It looks a little too choppy to me right now, so no point in even looking at it. Peloton, look how close it got. 26.70, so it comes really close to that 27
I thought I had a short in there.
I'm at 75, so it was like 5 pennies.
Neil,
or so.
I'm at 26.70.
But that's
no
what,
word of a lie.
Yeah,
what
it barely missed it. So, I'm not going to sit there chasing it.
Come on.
Either it comes back to that price. I'm not going to sit there chasing the stock.
I wish you
just
that.
Can't do that. It happens, so I got to say it.
Yeah,
so.
no. So I just wish you didn't say it, because I was like, well, then why am I not short? I'm at 26.70 on Peloton. Okay, but Microsoft, anyways, like I said, this might be one of those days where we should probably be one and done, because that was a smoking trade right there. We're out of 20, 40, 60, 80. $45.80. We still have 20%. Let's see if that one wants to fly. Disney, though, bounce, 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 not doing much other than tanking. So here we go. Disney could be the loser on the board. Well, we only have 2 trades. This one is going to be a loser here as Disney trying to take out that 138 right now. Not a good level for me here on Disney. So if we crack below this 138.50, we're going to be gone on this one. We're only long. We're out right now 80 cents. So we'll see where that goes. $2 in the money on Disney. On Microsoft. What's happening with NEO? I had a 28 call down here. So let's take some long on NEO.
And that other name, the other ridiculous small cap just spiked in here. Remember this 520 level on SVFD? I just got short in front of it. If it breaks out, fair enough. I'm going to hunt back at about $6. That's going to be the key price. There is no chase. I mean, Peloton, you can pretty much forget about it at this point. But the other name I was watching the key level
Peloton
was, of course, GameStop.
Sucks.
Touched 111 cents. And then broke back out to the upside. So that's what I'm in about. Don't get caught trapped at the bottom. GameStop now starting to break out. So the long in front of the level would have worked. I was only looking to short it if it broke. DWAC immediately broke out at the top. There was no curl at that 82.30 level, but it has stalled out at 83.50. So that does mean that second 85 to 87.50 range is definitely in play.
Okay, so NEO, new position alert. We're in NEO right now. Is Microsoft $2 in the money, but Disney, I guess, getting there it goes. Come on, NEO. We're in the 80s. Let's go. Let's get this out in the 80s right now if we can for a nice, smooth 20-cent winner again. All we're kind of doing right now, guys, is just stacking up the cash because, honestly, we don't know what kind of grenades are about to come here in this marketplace. So let's just, oh, man, it just bounced off that VWAP there. Didn't even notice that was VWAP. Let's put an order there to see if we get out again as right now the NASDAQ, a big acceleration to the upside here. We're going to try to go green on the NAS, right? So that's going to be a problem there for anybody short. They could, we could, there goes, nice play there for NEO. We could get more acceleration to the upside here is what I'm trying to get at. Disney right now dropping. This looks like this is going to break. So down to 139. Wow, Disney, this name, there has to be a level here where Disney gets bought.
That's crazy.
And Netflix is not even moving here off earnings, so we're not going to look at that. But look at Disney, man. This name is dead. Disney, wow. Just nasty. What's up, Brendo?
Tech names moving back higher, but so are the banks, guys. Some strength coming back into a few of these anyways. Here's Citigroup, the first one to pop up on volume, testing pre-market highs here through 64 for C.
Thanks.
All right, so there it is. So now we just took another long on Disney just to see where we go from here because honestly, enough is enough, I think, at some point. Hey, Miss V, what's up? Oh, I like that green. I didn't even notice that. Fancy earrings again? Wow, look at you. Okay, let's just keep on going here. And NEO now 20 cents in the money. That's a good trade. Microsoft is coming back down, though. So it bounces right off that 303 break level that we talked about. So that was a good indicator there to watch out for that level. So here comes Disney coming back down right now. So wow, okay. NEO as well on the upside just stopped. So yeah, maybe the NASDAQ now trying to find some legs here. It doesn't look like it can. Bye-bye. We're almost out of this one. There it is. We should be out very soon on a 138.50 break here for Disney. It looks like this one just keeps on going to the downside, guys.
Yeah, and a couple of things happening. The stop on BSFC, I get right back in when it holds that level up at the top. I'm going to try to scalp it out in the bottom of the range, or at least some of it, 575 to 550. The other one I just got into was that SVFD, just to make sure we get the symbol right, because there is a very similar stock that we all actually got mixed up at one point in the pre-market. That one broke the top, an immediate fail break at that consolidation level. So once again, fail break, jump right back into the trade. It actually spiked down in the money about 50 cents or so. About 40 cents or so. I did not get out. I'm going to get some bids down around that 480 level to make sure that I'm taking some profit on it. And somehow Coinbase has not broken back up yet, despite that mark. It's still below the top end of the range. You can actually see my stop here. So it's holding up. If it reverses through that 211, I am going to try to reverse into a long, but Coinbase looking like it wants to hold. So that's a reload situation for me with the market trying to bust and Coinbase holding below. I mean, that tells me that I should be getting back into the short because I did cover some quickly and then took some profit. So I do have room to get back in. I'll see if I can go ahead and do that. Oh, that's right. I have to cancel this stop first and then do that.
That is a great call, though, on the reloading. That's what I was looking for. I was like, nothing is going to some of these levels because they're all kind of going upside here as NASDAQ still trying to make some highs here. So that looks pretty good. NVIDIA 240 right now, AMD battling. And let's go Disney, man. This is going to be a big win for us here if this can get back to the upside because we did take that average in, but we did take some out there on a little bit of worry. And why not take another piece out? We have a lot of shares here, obviously, on that average. So let's see where we go now. Right back into the money. This still needs to go back up, but we have, thank God, there, well, we shouldn't say that, but we did average in down there at 139 and almost took us out at that 138.50 mark, but we were a little bit lower than that. So now let's go to the upside, and now all of a sudden Disney now back into the money here as it's Rip City right now. So good trade here for Disney, but we got to take some out. It's just bouncing off VWAP right now, so that ticked as high as 140 right there. Let's put an offer 140, man. If we can get that, we should be pretty happy with Disney.
Yeah, another name that just made a bit of a spike here, Vinco Ventures, right into that, almost to $4. I shouldn't say right into 4. It got very, very close to it. Got to 390 here, breaking the pre-market highs. $4 was a great bounce spot in the afternoon a couple of days ago. It got broken yesterday, but $4 psychologically, that's going to make some sense. It has been a short the last couple of days, but if it breaks back above 4, I'm definitely going to like it. So, of course, I mean, this is going to happen. It is what it is. Like, I talked about catching that reload, but I had a stop order, and it is the wrong kind of stop order. We have 2 different stop orders, one of which I have to cancel first before getting more shares. And, of course, that's what I was using when I tried to get more shares on Coinbase. I'm not... At this point, I either got that curl or I didn't. You can see that I didn't, so I'm just going to hold on to the Coinbase short at this particular point. And if I get a reload at a price that I like, then that's fair enough. But clearly, I didn't get it that time. Kind of regretting it there. One name which we have kind of ignored, or at least I have this morning, if it'll load up here for me, Tesla. About to take out that 980 bottom. Remember, 980 is the level I like, not that 3,000. So Tesla getting to 980.
Really?
I mean, yeah, like this is one of those. I know I'm short Coinbase, but that's the level I said I would defend. It got there real fast. So I'll see if I can't catch a quick little bounce bid on Tesla. It's just multiple days here. It's been able to hold it. So if I can get a scalp trade off of 980, I'm going to go ahead and do that. That's betting against maybe Coinbase a little bit, the short that I have, but ultimately it's a level I like, so I'm going to take the trade. It's only a couple of dollars worth of risk, which on Tesla is not a lot.
Yeah, so I was looking, yeah, exactly. Good trade there.
We'll see.
Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so let's not count our chickens before they hatch. I've talked about that on the show a couple times. And thank you guys. Shout out to Hoodie Nation. If anyone's wearing their hoodie, send me a picture of that. Okay, so Microsoft, bye-bye to the downside or upside?
Oh, yeah, it broke
downside. Okay, so just quickly here, Microsoft starting to go back upside here. So that's why I asked Neil, like, what exactly is happening again with Tesla? Because Microsoft's holding, which is nice to see. I do have a bid down here at this 50 period. So if it comes back down to 301.70, we'll take Microsoft here, and then we'll see what happens. But that was a good take down here at $300.60. Oh, right now, Coinbase still cracking lower, I guess?
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't get that reload. It just broke 205. Yeah. So look, obviously 200 is a thing on Coinbase. I'm going to cover in front of 200 for sure.
Good. Disney as well, back here bouncing around VWAP right now as well on the 1-minute chart. So we've already taken Disney early, and then took this here. So that's why we're able to have a now in the money price. But we still are negative on Disney. So let's not forget about that as well. Okay, Neo. Neo just puked downside there. So we are like boom on this one because that just came in all of a sudden. So let's see what Neo does now at some of these lows. We were looking at 28. I don't even have a stop order in. So 28 again on NIO has been a level right here on the daily chart that has held. So we've held out 28 on NEO right there, you can see. So that's something that we're trying to defend again right now, 28 bottom. The actually bottom is 27. I mean, we might have to play these bottoms, man. Maybe 27.50 on NIO. So let's slow down on how many shares we're taking on board now. As the NASDAQ, Neil, I wish you were short Tesla probably at this point, just like I wish I would have.
Reversed that.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. Reversing Disney off 140, reversing Microsoft off 303 would have been great. But for some reason, we've got this bull mentality.
Don't look at Peloton right now. You really don't want to look at Peloton. Immediately finding some relative strength. Intel up 1%. They had news. That factory they're building in Ohio, spending $20 billion on. So you announce you're spending $20 billion, the stock's up. This is the thing. It's one of those names now, right? Like it's going to be the valuation type of play. But it's showing some strength. 52 looks like support there. But this is, I mean, 980 is a level. Why am I not reversing it? It happened. I'm an idiot. BSFC. One worked, one is still working, one did not. That's at SVFD, which is breaking out. I stopped out on it with a tight stop, and that's why I have a tight stop on BSFC, because SVFD is about to halt to the upside. And no, I'm not long. I did not get it. Whoops, it's on the, did I get it right? SVFD, whoops, that's right. SVFD, halting to the upside. It just went into a volatility halt. And this is why tight stops at this level every single time, because it had the opportunity to possibly do exactly this. 5-minute halt likely, Brendan.
A little bit of money being put to work, it looks like, in some of the bigger names as well. I just saw J&J pop up on a volume scanner, which is very rare for any of these. My chart is not loading. There we go. A little bit better anyways. 1% here, day highs, guys, for J&J.
Yeah, J&J's a good name there. Microsoft on a reload. Go ahead, Neil.
No, I was going to say J&J, of course. Like names like that can be up today.
Yep, exactly. Well, hopefully they'll be up all day, and the market can hold up some highs here as we get that reload on Softy down there at 301 and change. So let's see where we go now. We're long at 301.11 rate, or sorry, 301.17 right there, and we could have. Sorry, I'm still on the wrong chart. I'm on the right chart, but the wrong period. Where is my minute chart right now? So there it is. So now you're seeing the crackdown. Look at the NASDAQ, guys. We had that big move up there off the open. It was like celebrated by us, which was good. We made money on it, but now we're sort of holding the bag here, we're not holding any bags, but just waiting to see where we go off of some of these bottoms, guys. So we did have a new trade alert as well that we could talk about right now as the NASDAQ continues its move to the downside. New trade alert would be SoFi. So SoFi goes in at 14.25, 26 or so, and then it rips back up. Wow. And when I say the word rip, I got to talk about what it actually did. It only went up 10 cents to the upside there. So we'll see if SoFi can hold 14. But you know, another move that we didn't think would happen today, all the way back down. Remember, I was like talking about SoFi in here. Well, look, we were a little bit patient, but SoFi also, Neil, looks like it wants to break to the downside. And if this NASDAQ can't hold like this bottom right now, then I don't even know what to say. We're heading into a weekend, and it's going to be a nasty one, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is one of those. It is case closed for me. That's an interesting case.
I like that one. It's like a traveling case. It's like
I was just talking about, like, I'll get out in front of 200 on Coinbase. That was a minute and a half ago. It just printed 236.36. I'm out at 201. So that breakdown, again, I missed the reload after taking the scalp trade. Did not get the reload at 209, but that's going to end up working out. It's a morning of, I guess, somewhat in some senses regrets, because I should have had more of this. We definitely should have had Peloton. And by the way, like, you look where Peloton is, like, you know what? Now I don't want this fill. I don't want this fill if I get it up here the same way. Because look at the retracement. It would have had to break. It would have had to break this like 25 or hold 25 and then come back up. I don't like that. Netflix just popped in for me, so. Pretty simple. I went long 393 with a stop 390. So that one was sort of like a predetermined plan. Like, it's not exactly the same as Tesla. Tesla came in. This one I had in since a pre-market to take a 93 long in front of a 390. So if it makes a bit of a base here, I already have my stop lock loaded to go. GameStop, by the way, that broke the 100 level. So I'd take the 100 break if it took out 100. I'm going to give this one a little bit of room. I think GameStop I want to give back to at least a 101 type area. Give it a buck to see how it settles down. But Peloton could break 25 to the downside. So that was a breakdown that I wasn't willing to take. But if the market's going to spike and then come back down like that, suddenly that changes the litmus for a trade like that. And I guess even getting out of Coinbase in front of 200 was wrong. That's now at 199. I should have held that short too, apparently.
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, holding any short, I think, is going to be a good one. We just got stopped out of our Disney as that does break, so that's going to be a negative story for us. But we did, yes, sir, thank you, yes. We did take that Microsoft trade back in again here. So Microsoft, another good trade here. Took that at 340 cents or so. Now it's going back up to the upside. So a couple good ones here for NASDAQ, for Microsoft. It did touch right there. We did take that fill, like we said, at 301.70. And then took it back here. So we've already emptied out this position, but now it's coming back up. So a nice little move back inside here for Microsoft. That's going to be a good one. SoFi holding out, and hopefully Neo can hold out as well. You just mentioned Peloton, a name that was fun yesterday. And I feel a little bit better now, because I thought the high of the day was exactly 70, but at least I was 3 cents off, and you were 10 cents off or so. So that makes me feel a little bit better that it didn't exactly stop at our price, but not much better, that's for sure. I'm actually going to cancel. Actually, no, I'll still take it if it comes back up there. But what's up, Brendo?
An alert on Roku again, guys. This one was down big time. Along with Netflix into the close even yesterday, but trying to hold. Looks like 161, 160 and a half maybe support here for Roku. Buy volume there on Roku.
So BSFC just made a move down. I'm still getting some shares. I just took a fill at the bottom end of the range, so I'm going to cancel that. I just got 570s. If next leg out in front of 515, and the reason I'm talking a little faster than normal is we're about to open back up on SVFD. which is the other name here. And again, that 6 level is pretty big. So we got 6 to 650. If it fails here, I think it might be worth an entry point if I can catch it in like a 518 with a 6 stop, 580 area with a 6 stop. So I'm going to quickly trying to get into that. Netflix is popping a little bit. So I got an offer out 1-to-1's about 396 and between that and 400. So I want to trim some of that if I can get it at 396. Doesn't look like I got that fill. Doesn't look like I'm catching the SAFD. SVFD off the open either, but that was what I was looking for. I was looking for it to hold that 6 level and then try and short it below the hull price with a stop back up at 6. As you can see here, I didn't miss out on that trade. But hey, I mean, I know the plan of action. That's why I sort of go over it every single time. Like, I know what I want to do on the reopen of the trade. Sometimes it just moves a little bit too fast to be able to get it. I just hollered out what I was going to do with Netflix. That's what I'm sort of talking about. You had that barcoding area here before the open, 97 into 400. So I want to make sure that I'm grabbing profit in front of that at about 1-to-1 and then holding on for dear life for the rest. GameStop breakdown, that stops out. So I short GameStop through 100. But every short that I was taking through the bottom, you got to have yourself an out because I don't want to get trapped at that bottom. So GameStop doesn't work. Coinbase did, obviously, but GameStop not working out for me there. BSFC continues to flush and SCFVD, oh man, we definitely missed that one. That might be an ugly one for the rest of the day because it just flushed almost $1 on that.
Oh, did it? Off, so it reopened and went the other way?
Yeah.
Dirty. Yeah, okay, so we've actually had a little bit of luck here as the markets rallied a little bit for us. We were able to take a nice bid out, well, it was a bid that hit us, but a nice offer out there at 301.80 on Softy to take that back in. And now look, man, it's Crank City one more time to the downside. So just be very, very careful with all of your trading here today. The NASDAQ doesn't really know what it wants to do. It tried to go back upside. Failed again, failed that VWAP there. It went a little bit higher, but then failed and came back in. So I'm still all longs. We will look for some shorts. So don't, let's not think that we're only going one way here. Disney comes all the way back. Looking at Facebook down here as well. Meta. If there's any names, guys, I've just been sorry I haven't been able to look at the chat here today. Affirm is up as well, apparently. So that's going to be
positive.
Good one there. Someone just said Affirm is up. I don't know. I wanted to ask you about that because, well, we'll talk about it after, maybe on the afternoon show, because I know that you do like Affirm to some extent. So I did want to talk to you about that because I think it's getting near some levels.
It's getting to
Is it
trigger
positive?
point.
Let's see. Affirm today. Someone said it was positive. Yeah, no, it's down 1.7%.
No, I was going to say it's
okay, Starbucks positive today, which is interesting. Maybe Ms. V bought Starbucks there. Let's find out from Brendan. What's up, buddy? What do you got?
I was talking about Citigroup there. Here's the next one to go. Morgan Stanley, guys, just popping up on volume as well. It came down to 97.5 twice and held. So, yeah, a little bit of support possibly from the financial group coming in.
Just noticed that with Goldman too. Goldman on the way back up through 350 right now. Look at some of these banks. Good call there, Brendan. The banks rallying right now, even though the market's kind of flat. The banks are flat too, but look at a nice move upside there. That's $5 for Goldman, and then Morgan's probably a little bit better trading tool for. Oops, that's not a NASDAQ name. Better trading tool than Goldman just because of the spread. So right now $98. Yeah, nice move back up for Morgan. Not fantastic, but it's a mover right here. So we'll look at that. But I'm going to keep my eyes on some of these positions that I currently have, including NEO, which is right at 28, guys. I'm not averaging into this position anymore. There it goes. I was going to say, because once it hits, it's going to break. Now we're using that bottom that we talked about. Oh, man, it sucks because it will probably get stopped out of this. We should have gone short on that once we realized it the first time. But this 27.50 is going to be my breaker 19 because right now, this name still Tank City here. And then we got out of the way on some of SoFi, which was good, but we did think that there was a run coming. So SoFi in at 26, our best out 37 and 36. So we'll see where it goes now, but SoFi bouncing around 14 again. This is a great level to buy. It's just like the market is not telling us to buy right now. So I just have to find some shorts, guys. Like look at the 52-week lows. Rocket companies, all these look shitty weed stocks, man. All down. Clover down. Twilio, I love Twilio, down. Twitter, Neil, Twitter's down 50% from its highs.
Yeah, I mean, Coinbase now 198, so that continues to absolutely flush. And guess what's going in the other direction right now? Peloton starting to head back into the upside. So might have missed it the first time. But certainly, if it gets close to that high, at some point I got to take a shot at this. I mean, you can give. If I give it a 26, like 10 or 15 stop, then I'm willing to retest it up at that high. So I'm going to nibble into Peloton, but I do love the higher levels a little bit better here, just to make sure we're not getting stopped out. Netflix went a couple of dollars in the money. Now it looks like it might retake that bottom. I mean, nothing seems to be bouncing here, but the plan of action was 93s to 90. 90 breaks, I'm going to be out of that trade. It still has a chance to hold. And what's giving me, hope's not the right word, but what could give it that juice is the NASDAQ hasn't retaken that low of the day. I mean, and the ES is holding above that low of the day. So as long as that happens and Peloton's within, not Peloton, Netflix is within this range. I might have said Peloton accidentally. Netflix is within this range, then I kind of like the price area that we have here. The risk to reward definitely still fits for me. So I think I feel okay with that. SVFD, after that reopen, it still looks pretty weak here, getting right down towards that $5 level and trying to bounce. So if it does hold previous support, there might be a retest of that halt price, which would give a re-entry for the short with about a $6 stop area on SVFD.
Here goes Softy, man. We just took another spot. Thank God we're not like heavily invested in these names right now. We're heavily invested. I just mean for a day trader right now. It's not a big position because we were just watching this. I feel, I mean, you know, the short was the right play today, man. We talked about that all morning, and then now I'm sitting here trying to battle some of these longs against levels that should be like my targets for short outs instead of like getting out on this. There it goes. So I was just going to say, like, if this cracks below, we're out. So anyways, we're still positive, which is unbelievable. We're still up on Microsoft today despite that dump down there through 298. So actually, look at my out now. I mean, that was 298.99 we got out. Look at this thing puking. Microsoft just gave up the bottom. I don't even know, like, what the hell's your Tesla doing right now, Neil? I know you're not in it, but you traded that one. That one might be getting slapped. I called 900 today. I mean, I didn't call that, but we were talking about that yesterday. That's a good buy level for me. Right now, Apple also just barely negative. This name could be the next one to fall. And when it does, look out below, guys. Apple's gonna, like, Apple and Microsoft now finally getting hit. Those are not good signs for this market, man. These are the ones that are supposed to hold this market up, and they're definitely not doing that. Microsoft right now cranking through 298. Wow.
There goes Netflix.
This is a disaster right here. There goes Peloton?
No, there goes Netflix. Netflix just broke that 390, so that's not going to end up working out. I'm actually now looking at Silvergate 100, which I wasn't before. Coinbase already made the break, and it's gonzo, but Silvergate 100 I'm now looking at for the break. Coinbase I like better at 208, and we did take that, so I'm also going to take this one going to the downside. Someone asked in the chat, do I think crypto is causing this crash? I don't think crypto pulling back is causing the crash, but the participation of crypto in the pullback yesterday is certainly exacerbating the negative sentiment in the market. So I don't think that's a cause. I guess it's like, I don't know, it's like helping pushing something down the hill, I suppose, or maybe adding weight to the cart down the hill.
Yeah,
maybe that's the way I don't know.
One.
Pick an analogy that fits that. I think that's more along those lines. But Silvergate, a name that I usually avoid day trading, but the spread's not bad today. So I'm looking for 100 on the breakdown. And of course, this is now the second time today on Peloton where I will be canceling an order on the offer. Like this is, it breaks 26, fail break at 26. I try to grab the short on the way back down. You're going to see me miss it. And again, I'm going to be canceling an offer. I feel like the only way into this, it's going to have to really push, like a strong push up, in which we're really going to be tested, or it's just simply going to be breaking that 25 from earlier.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is just nasty. I was looking at Salesforce as well, down to $20. Oh, that's a New York name. Down to 220. Sorry, not 20. Down to 220 right now. I'm bouncing off that 220 level. Unfortunately, now my chart may not load. That's been a good level for CRM, so I'm debating just taking this right now off that. I mean, we have a 219 bottom, so this is not a horrible bid spot right now for Salesforce. I think we'll try it here and see where we go. You know, down to 220 on this name. Again, not super high volume, but if the market rallies a little bit, I think Salesforce can hold. Just looking for some levels that like have still been holding there, but here it comes to the downside, so maybe this is not the right name either. Let's check out AMD. Anyways, just Salesforce there. We may regret not taking that, but AMD is another name maybe. You know what, I don't know. Maybe we will take a piece of Salesforce down here if we can get it, and then another piece down near 220 itself. So there we are. Did we just get that Salesforce? Yes, we did. As the Nasdaq still going downside, so we're into Salesforce now at this level, right here against 219. So we'll see if 219 holds on Salesforce. But again, here I am looking longs. What's up, Brendan?
As mentioned that news on Intel there quickly this morning. One that is trying at least to hold up here a little bit, 0.5% for Intel still above 52 would be interesting point for Intel.
Funny, I was just going to say we need to look at some of the chip names, and you came with Intel there. So
I mean, I think the value. I guess it's doing okay. I didn't get the fill on DWAC when it broke 77 here, but I'm on the offer. I guess it didn't cross down far enough. So it broke 77. Looks like it got to. Oh my goodness, you really? It went to 75. That would have been a clean victory. So I guess I might not want this on the way back up. So I'll go ahead and cancel that. But 77 was broken, went to 75. I only didn't notice because I didn't get the fill. So I thought the stop would be my alert, triggering triggering into position. That never happened, obviously. So now that if it bounces off 75 and pushes through 77, I'd be looking back to that 80 level or even like a 79 for an entry point into that. But obviously, having missed out on it, there's not much you can do about it. I'm not going to chase it any further down. 75 could be an interesting break on DWAC. BSFC, that's basically the only thing I'm left in at this point because we got the stop out in Netflix there. I got out of Coinbase too early, so we're only left in this BSFC, and it's bouncing a little bit. I am going to try a reload probably one more time if it comes back up to that 630 to 650 area. But from there, this thing takes out 7. It might do like what SVFD did where it halts to the upside. So you can't let it break out at that 7 even. I think that's a little bit crazy. If it breaks 5 to the bottom, the rug could get pulled. This was $1.90 yesterday, by the way, just to keep in perspective. I mean, crazy levels overnight. It was $1.90 yesterday. This could fall a heck of a lot more if it breaks 5.
Okay, so I'm into a position here, and again, we're just going to try it on AMD along through 120. Oops, sorry, wrong screen. We're actually into NEO as well. If this market falls down, all of these will get crushed, and it will be a bad day for us. But oh shoot, like AMD just tests the levels that I was looking at there, 120.50. It broke that 50 period to the upside, and we smashed along there. It doesn't look like that's going to work out for us on that play, but we'll see here if AMD can make its way back up. We're giving it to this bottom, 119.70, I think is the bottom of the day, right? Yeah, 119.70. So we take out that bottom of the day, then we'll get out of this way for AMD. So that's about $1 or so worth of risk. So we'd like to see this at least, get past 121 here, and then we'll look at this again. But right now, that's name that we're sort of resting on right here, AMD. We'll see 119.70 on the downside is a level that we're looking at. So that's going to be something to take in consideration.
So I'm just going to jump in and say, I keep seeing in the chat, it's like bloodbath, this or that. The NASDAQ has yet to even break the low. So we haven't broken the low there, and we haven't even broken the low on the ES, right? So both of these levels are intact, and I kind of felt like that was going to be my support for the stop for the stop in some of these bottoms that you try to pick. But you're breaking stops without the market breaking stops because it's getting held up. Like I say the same 2 names over and over again because it's the names I watch, but go look at what Procter or Pepsi are doing. And we just talked about Intel. There's a lot of things holding the market up, the overall market right now. So you got to be in the right ones if you're looking for the volatility. SoFi, by the way, 1360, in pretty interesting level here on SoFi, is right here, like this 1360 from a couple of sessions ago, an afternoon bottom, and a previous level of support that got broken. So interesting bounce on SoFi at 1360. That could be a nice bottom. Was that Brendan? No? Okay.
Nope. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, I didn't hear that either, but our earpieces have been going crazy, and plus we're going deaf, so there is also that as a problem. Okay, so AMD, there it goes. Yes, sir, finally, thank you. Thank you so much, AMD, for this break. We needed this one as it's going to the upside right now. AMD starting to break higher, so now we're out of half. We got out of half there on that 121 break. So this is a big one. It comes up to VWAP. We take it out, take it out, take it out. So now there goes AMD. Thank God for that. We are now positive on the day. Let's take out another piece here as AMD starting to run upside for us. And there goes CRM as well. We are long at 120.20 or so on CRM. So this is a name that we should probably look to exit out on maybe a little bit. 70 cents in the money, and now it's starting to come back down. CRM just spiked to 221 and change. We have to take a piece out here if this goes to 221.30 here on CRM. So let's do that right now. If that can come out, that's a NASDAQ name? No, it's not. It's a New York name. So there it is. Okay. Darn it. It didn't go back up there. I thought it did. We'll put an offer there and see what happens. But there goes AMD. 70 cents now in the money, but it is coming back down a little bit. And then our NEO there also looked like it wanted to rally there and stopped. So the NASDAQ started to go there. That's why we take some pieces out. And then now, oh, shoot, man. Here it goes back down to the downside. So good out there on AMD as this is starting to turn around for us again. And it doesn't look like there's any love whatsoever here for NIO. Getting ready to get this out on a break of 50, guys. Yuck. AMD all the way back now. Darn it.
So I'm going to tweet this one out. Why not?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
I'm not proud of myself on this one. This is, to me, this is going to be my chart of the day. And it's going to be GameStop. And it speaks for itself. And it's like, this is worse than not holding on to Coinbase short because you know, 100 level like that and not giving it any room on a GameStop, only to see it do this. This is me getting out. Like the second I got out of this trade, it makes the reverse. It just reverses on a dime, and I didn't even hold it through the consolidation area, like this chop area. I always talk about these barcodes. Didn't even hold it through this, right? So should have given it to 102. If you're not willing to give it to the high of the day, I should have been willing to give it to the top of the consolidation level. But there is a bit of a bounce happening. I just started in SoFi because I spotted that level. I kind of wanted a couple of things in case we hold the levels on both the ES and the NASDAQ at the bottom. I'm not saying we're going to hold it, but if you also look at Netflix, which, you know, we had, again, a relatively tight stop on Netflix, if this will load up, there you go, giving it to that 390, and that just spiked to a bottom here at like 384. So you're starting to see a little bit of a bounce try to come into these markets, at least a little bit. And then another name which is right up against the key level at the bottom, that 75 load. That 75 level on DWAC is getting retested. So a couple of things rounding out back to the bottom just as the markets are heading to those lows that have yet to be broken. So it's some put up or shut up points here. So SoFi, my stop is going to be at 1350. I just got the reload there. I'm giving these some room now. And then DWAC 75. I mean, I'll probably short it if it breaks 75, but I'm enticed to try some longs in front of these with some decent stop areas. Brendan's at the big screen because it's already past 10 o'clock. Time for happening now.
Yeah, lots to look at this morning, guys. Here we go. Red board to show you right across the board. It's all about the NASDAQ here leading the way to the downside, 1.5 for both the composite and the 100. NASDAQ, S&P at the top, 1% to the downside. The Dow only 0.3. Some of the small caps trying to bounce, including the ones we were mentioning there. In the pre-market, here in Toronto, 1.3% for the TSX in negative territory as well. Let's have a quick look here at a few things we were talking about in the pre-market. Yeah, Peloton. I was wondering if this was going to happen when I came up here. It wasn't doing anything, but testing pre-market lows as we speak here for Peloton. We'll shift over quickly and look at, I wanted to show you micro strategies. MSTR broke that 400, 410 level on the way to the downside as well. So crypto starting to come off again, guys.
Cryptos. I like how Brendan says that. Cryptos. All cryptos starting to go off a little bit here. Trying to battle. I mean, Bitcoin, on a daily chart, we've already talked about where it's at, 38.3 here for the minute today. Sometimes it's just a little choppy. Down to 37.6 was the bottom. It looks like 37.7, sorry. And now just bouncing around. So Bitcoin really hasn't done that much. It did have a rally off the open for the NASDAQ. So that was a nice move. It's nice to see them somewhat correlated. But, people asked, before, are they connected? They're not really connected. It's just, you have people like me and you have different people in asset classes that are just dumping some of their crypto because there is that global worry that we should all know about. And we've talked about lots of times here. And crypto should be a fight somewhat against inflation and against, it's decentralized apparently, right? So you got to watch out for that name coming through. CRM came all the way down and all the way back up. So I think we have to respect this 221.10 area or so where we bounced the last time we ripped. So, an out there would give us $1 on this position. So I'm not going to be foolish and not do that. So let's put an offer there around 221 or so. We don't need to take that exact print it came to last time, but 221 flat works for me here on Salesforce. So I'm going to put that offer there, see if we can make 80 cents. And then right now AMD is also cruising, trying to get higher and higher and higher here. We just took some out at VWAP and now we're holding the rest. We still have 40% of this initial position.
Yeah, I just punched into the short at 75 and quickly scalped it out. So we'll scalp some of it out anyways, a couple thirds of that out immediately. By the way, that I just punched into possible support. It was resistance before at this 74, like 40-ish area. So this snapping back, I shouldn't be too surprised about it. The second I pull back and look at my 15-minute chart, I got on the bid right away to make sure I was covering some of this on DWAC. But I wouldn't be surprised if it snapped back. Like, look at this. This is 74.50 right here. And then look what happened when it broke out at that price. So that's what I mean about punching right into support. Now that I've taken some over profit, I can give it back to at least 76. SoFi's back to flat, but I'm not even, look, if I'm willing to give it to 1350, I'm not even considering taking it. I'll start taking SoFi out when it gets to 14.25. I just feel like if you're trying to pick bottoms, like either you're giving it some room or you're not. Like, look what happened to not giving room on something like a GameStop. So on SoFi, I got to give it some breath.
Yeah, okay, good. I like that one. And bang right now. Thank God for that one. WTF were you doing down there? AMD, and we hit that pretty good for that long and bang into the upside. This has been, a great trade for me here. And look, we're using levels now. We have a 50 period, 1 minute on here on a 1 minute chart, and it's been pretty good. So we'll use that there as an indicator to bust it to the high side. Obviously, you could have just used 120 as well and had a little bit of a better price, but there it goes back up to the upside. So yeah, we're really happy with that trade. I'm disappointed in CRM. We'll see about SoFi. We did reload as well on SoFi. Obviously, we started it up here, already took some profit. It comes back to 14, and I do like what Neil was talking about, but I'm going to relieve a little bit of pressure on this name here as it approaches 14. And then if we can get back up for me, back up around here, man, and I can just kind of flat out this trade, I think we would like that, as here comes the NASDAQ right back in again. So, 14 flat, 14 and change for SoFi looks to be a good level there. Yeah, another good out apparently on AMD. We'll check out what that's doing. And then it looks like the Chinese names, although Michael Nas came with KWeb, which is the Chinese ETF on the internet side, I'm here holding out hope that NEO can somehow get back going to the upside. Our last bid is right there. And we're using 28.50 as the bottom, but hey, it should have bounced off the bottom already. This is a bad position. This probably goes against us. We should lighten some out here on NIO, guys.
And thank you, Mike, for the super chat, but also thank you for pointing out what should be obvious looking at this chart enough, but obviously I'm not doing it, so clearly it's not obvious enough. But look at Peloton. I mean, this 25 level, it's giving you 50 cents like almost every single time. So the volume's 20 million shares. You can go ahead and start taking it. Why not? Good luck. Going late to that game, by the way, the more times it bounces down here, the more people look at it, the more people are long, the more likely it is to eventually break. So once you've seen it happen enough, usually you don't want to be the last person holding the bag. So I'm not going to jump in this late, but congratulations that you have been doing it, Mike. Like I said, there might be a bounce because we didn't take out those lows. Never quite, I didn't quite get back into Netflix. There you are seeing it come to the upside. So might have missed that opportunity. I got SoFi. I'll have to be okay with that one. If DWAC breaks like 76.5, I'll give up on that trade. And then it's not that I forgot about it, but a heck of a lot's happening here. Dat Chat, which is another one that I missed out on, that came up to the high, failed the pre-market highs, and then came right back. It's now churning below $3, so there's now a short-off VWAP at $3 on Dat Chat, which I probably could have already been sitting in, but I'll go ahead and do that. Now I'll give it to about 305 because it does have that higher low. It does have that pre-market high, I should say, 315, that I want to try again, but 97, 98, something like that to the short side. Give it to 305. That makes some sense. It's a name that it was on my list to watch today for both a high break and then maybe retracing, just because of what it did in the afternoon. Was crazy how weak that stock was.
Yeah, we're darn it, man. So we did get some out on NEO there, 67. This is really the only stock that I'm concerned with now. SoFi, I still think it's just at key levels here, so I'm not super worried. I don't know, Neil. What were you thinking about SoFi? Are we just going to hold this?
I might stop this to that 50 level because
that's okay.
My chart's not up.
So 1350.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to 50.
That's fine. I was just looking.
And then if I start taking profit, the way I look at it, if I start taking profit somewhere in this range here, like where it broke out yesterday, about that 1425, you scale out, you get an average out. If it moves up, then the average out would probably be somewhere around the 40 to 50 range, right? So, as long as you're doing this and getting it up all the way up to 15, I think it works. You could look. If I had a better price, you could argue giving it to 1340, but I'm long at a 90 price. If you had literally 1350 long, I guess it would make sense to give it to 1330. But I'd rather take a couple of shots at something than go all in at one time, because that doesn't seem like it's the way to go this morning. I'm going to check back in on BSFC because any low floater
I like that
hangs out. If it hangs out this long off the bottom, even if you're in the money, if it doesn't break the low, it's now 10.10. If it doesn't break the low by 10.30 or so and start really capitulating, well, it stands a chance of breaking your back. And the longer it holds this level, the more I'm likely to try to reverse it if it takes out this opening range top. Now, I'm not at the point yet, but I'm getting real close to saying to myself, okay, I'm going to have a couple of stops, one to cover what else I have short, because I still have some short, and then I'm going to reverse long. I'm not there yet, obviously, because it's working, but at some point, it either breaks the low or give me a break. It's going to coil up and then have another move in it. And you saw what happened to that SVFD. That halted when it broke that kind of a level. I don't want to get trapped in a halt. As I say that, it gives the worst case scenario. It starts to break down and I catch another fill. I got to hit an animation when we have a winner. When I get the wins today, I'm not even hitting the animation because all I'm seeing is another trade I missed on or another trade I lost. it's like a win one trade, lose another. Overall, it's just kind of like teetering. And I didn't hold the winners long enough. That was the other problem this morning.
Yeah, and actually, I don't have any negative stocks despite, Disney. Disney's, what? Oh my God, wow, glad we got out of Disney's way.
That's dying.
This is 137. So like I've bought no more of this name in my own long-term account. I last dumped this thing before earnings. Like how lucky was that at 175 up here for Disney? I'm so happy now. I'm not happy. I still own Disney shares. And I don't think anybody that's a Disney holder is happy right now. This thing is definitely falling a hell of a lot more than I believe anybody would have thought here for Disney. Although there are some bears out there on Disney because Disney's PE is still whacked. And obviously they're offering on the, I think probably today I should have thought about this was, if Netflix getting hit, Disney's content is significantly worse than Netflix's. So as you can see, obviously that's getting down. So now their forward PE is only 26 right now for Disney. So that's probably really low at this level. We're finally into Peloton. Let's see what it does as it cracks through 25 right now. PTON. We got to get out of some AMD as it's all the way back down now too. Look at the NASDAQ, man. New day's low here, Valeria.
Hey, Sean, we've got a super chat from Henry Zakur asking, can you please discuss the short interest / dark pool short ratio on Palantir? How can they cover a 3x daily volume?
Yeah, so there are some websites. I mean, obviously you found it there, Henry, about the short interest on stocks, and you can find out if it's a dark or who's been doing it. And all they sort of do is we can go over to Palantir, and we're into Peloton right now with the trade, so we'll see where this one goes right now. But as you can see, all they really do, Henry, is they add up all these D prints. And it's just, like a running total. And then they just try to figure out how many are short, right? I mean, and if they're saying that it's 42% short, I don't even really know what that means because I think Palantir is only like 10%. Maybe Brendan can confirm this. I don't know
think it's over
what it is now. I don't know if it's over 10% on the natural short float. But again, we did talk about this when AMC. Wow, this is $13. Wow. When AMC was going to the downside and things like that, when AMC was blowing up, people were really worried about how much interest there was on the short side of it. I don't know if the dark pool really matters that much to everybody. Everybody looks at those public numbers that are shown. But again, I don't really have much to say about dark pool short interest other than the fact that we know who operates in the dark pools, and it's not retail traders. Okay. So it's not a good sign for me, obviously, or for any of us that are holding Palantir right now, as all the names are getting cracked. It's not a good sign when the big boys are short because obviously they can drive this thing down and then unload it. So I think what I'm looking for now on Palantir, and I'm not invested in these levels, what I'm looking for is that blowout day where we see an increased size of volume and Palantir closes higher. So
Peloton's going, by the way.
Oh, Peloton's going. Yeah, we already have that 25 cents in the money. But anyways, as Palantir goes, we'll talk about that as the show goes, Henry. But thank you for the super chat. What I'm looking for is an up day on Palantir with an average daily volume of like maybe 2 times. And then that should tell us that maybe that short interest has now reversed course. So that's all I can say right there. And then there goes Peloton. We just took 25 cents.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily to interrupt, but I know you're both in the short. I'm going to ask you which gateway. I use NASDAQ scan.
Me too.
I got slipped to 91, though. You got 93s on the stop order. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's just, we probably have the same condition on the stop. I'm just like, why do we get different? It happens. Like, no 2 orders fire at exactly the same time.
Yeah, but that's pretty damn close to the same price.
In microseconds is basically the same price.
Yeah,
I'm just sort of joking. But there was like a small bid stepped up at 24.50 there. That's what I was like, hey, Peloton, by the way. And then got some out in front of that 50. This can be possibly reloaded if it tries to get back up to the 25 level. While that was happening, you're going to see I did not take Silvergate, and I have a really good reason for not taking this. When 100 broke, the spread, as it was getting to 100, the spread on this was like almost a full $1. So when I canceled the stop order, and when 100 broke, no offers were like 100 and then 60 cents was on the offer, and it wouldn't come down. So the spread's too big. I'll try to get into the short by getting a pop and then giving it some room as opposed to trying to cash out. Otherwise, like, you're risking twice as much as you'd want because of that spread, which I think is a heck of a good way to get busted. SoFi continues to try to hold the bottom. And come on, load. It did come down and make a higher low, I suppose, but my price is at 92s. It has to break out. It has to get to VWAP, and that's where the first leg is going to be. If I'm playing off this low, either it's getting here and I'm getting out from here up until 15, or we're going to hold it through that bottom and still looking for another shorting opportunity that isn't one of these small caps. Peloton seems to be working. We could have had that a little bit higher. Unfortunately, we didn't. I went over to Affirm. And it's like every single day that I don't short Affirm, this is what happens. That's already broken $60. So there's another name that I don't want to chase. But you start to think about, go all the way back, right, to when this stock broke out and where was your higher level support on the way back to the upside? $54, right? So 54, 55, that comes into play and that gets really spicy on Affirm as well. So some of these names coming into really key levels. And by the way, guess what just broke the low at 14.6 and is right back to the upside? NASDAQ. If that holds now, then SoFi should be pretty good, and I got to check in on some of the chip makers.
Yeah, we're trying to hold SoFi as well. We just come out 97s there on the upside, so our average price not like yours. We have 09s. Excuse me on that as I'm trying to chug this water fast here. Okay, AMD, we got a reload there on AMD, 120 there, flat. So that was a good one, 120.06. And we just took it out right there at that 50 period one more time. So we took it out there at 120.50. We still have a decent position. I shouldn't say big position. I have a decent position still on for AMD.
You said, yes.
What was that stock? Sorry?
No, I was just looking at this. I was looking for something to go long if we hold the bottom, and AMD still has held this double bottom.
The thing is, I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, that's why I'm also on CRM right now. But that's just bouncing. I mean, we're going to get clocked out here at 218. 219 break to the downside here on CRM. That did try to get back going. But you could see, look at this. Like, you want to talk about a stock that's just like to the downside. I thought we could bounce off of this 220 area. And it just, we're back down in here. We've made that wick before down here for CRM. Wow, what a nasty. Like, any of these stocks, I've recently bought CRM. I'll have to find out the price of that purchase, but CRM today, like down. I believe we bought something in here, 230, 240. I'll double check the price. I tweeted it out anyways when we bought that. Let's check out on Teladoc, a name that we recently sold. If this name is up today, then honestly, I'm quitting. I'm quitting everything. I know, that's why I'm saying I'm just handing my rezo right now on that one. If that does go to the downside, what did we just get out of right there? Oh, NEO. So this Teladoc obviously down as well. And then there goes NEO, man. We tried this one. Pigs get slaughtered. We did take some out there on NEO, here, but it never gave us an out, man. All the way down, NEO continues to crack. AMD's going to crack now as well, as that just does crack to the low side. So we're still fine. It's like we're not making money today, but we are red. There goes AMD, just breaks that low, so we don't need any love from that. But thank God we're able to make money. We're still up on AMD off of a big win there. Peloton starting to crack lower. At least we have 50 cents in that name as well to the downside. And there goes SoFi, NEO. Sorry, it doesn't go down. I thought it was going worse than that. It's because it's just off from that 14 again. So yuck, man. Like, darn it, man. Just to reload some of these shorts the other way would have been so good. There's everything broke on me there. CRM broke to the downside. AMD broke to the... Thank God AMD's positive for us. It's only one mistake right there. And then Peloton, which is a nice winner. Just focus on a couple key names, man, and don't mess around and you'd be okay. I think today we're doing okay. We're not doing great. Let's see if Brendan can give us some other ideas here with a small cap recap.
Hey guys, pretty quiet morning once again in small cap world. We'll talk about a few that we're moving around here. In the pre-market, I mentioned BSFC. That high from day one was 7, right on the dot. Nothing's really happened. If it's below 7, I'll be short. This was 180 yesterday, so a huge range. If it wants to break that low, we could get a nice flush to the downside. SBFD, 2 million shares on the float of this thing. It's crazy. So I was only long this, quick long off the open there. Just got stopped at a half. Just buying it in front of 475, 480. Seems to be support, 475, 480 for that one. Little teeny tiny one. DWAC as well. Not a small cap, obviously, but I wasn't doing anything else today. This is 82 from yesterday. It was support at the beginning of the day. Ends up being a nice resistance point here. It gave you late day trade. So I'm just using 82 once again here at the open. It was very choppy, very thinly traded. Tough to get shares, in fact, get filled on anything around 82. But yeah, huge move down again. 75, 74 for DWAC. Guys, back to you. Yeah,
I'm glad you clapped that one because I just keep looking. Coinbase is at 188, by the way. Like that that all-time low break at 208 was absolute gold. And it's like, you could, like, don't get me wrong, like, it's not about complaining. It's about sort of understanding the process of needing to get better. So you might have seen, like, just before Brennan got into that SVFD, I got back into this trade. Now, this is a daily chart on SVFD, and you'll sort of see here, like right up about 515, 517. Look at the channel this stock has been in. It gaps up and makes that break. You go from the higher time frame back into the lower, and that level doesn't really stand out. Like, it's kind of right in the middle. I was shorting off it earlier. They got stopped out. It halts to the upside, rejects at 6, consolidates right back at that same level on the daily chart, and then holds below. So I am now just saying, forget it. I'm short in front of it. I'll add to it at about 5 or just above $5. And if it breaks back above where I was stopping out earlier, then fair enough. Like, I'm just jumping right back into the same trade. Like, if you were to look at this without all this garbage, all you'd see is a gap up fade, consolidation, breakout at the open. And if you only look at the hour before the open, it's a classic head and shoulders, and it's a level on the daily chart. So I'm jumping back into it. We're going to hold on to Peloton for dear life because it's the only thing that isn't a small cap that I'm short. So if you look at yesterday's bottoms on Peloton, it got all the way to $23. So if this trend continues, I see no reason why Peloton doesn't get all the way back to 23. So might as well be holding on to this. You gotta hang on to some of these. Like, I showed you how ugly it looks to have covered. Like, I got out for a loser on GameStop and gonna have covered Coinbase way too early, but that continues to flush. And did I get back? I didn't get into Silvergate there because I wasn't willing to pay the spread. Now, guess what? Now the offer is holding below $100. So, I might as well try to get into this one sub 100 as Silvergate touched 99s.
Like, did we hear what the hell was going on with Coinbase? Brendan, I mean, maybe I missed something. Like, it wouldn't be the first time. But, like, this is down 15% today. Coinbase. Like, I knew that this was a bad year for IPOs and SPACs and everything like that. But Coinbase, at some point, like, I don't even understand why we're down here this much. I mean, I know Bitcoin's cracked, but Bitcoin's holding, man. Like, Bitcoin's at 38 right now and not doing anything. I mean, this is just holding out. If we had that decoupling now from Coinbase and Bitcoin, maybe that's what's happening today. And it's just like, no, we have nothing good going on at Coinbase. But I mean, this is just a nasty, nasty move to the downside. I'm looking for some kind of a move here in the NASDAQ back upside. But wow, Coinbase, I mean, until we find out more about this name, that is done. I mean, is HUD 8 the same thing? I mean, maybe that's also, yeah, so that's down 14. So maybe it's just like, it's like crypto, just carnage in some of these BS names, man. Like Fist.
Look, valuations too, by the way, because someone just asked, like, what's going on with Amazon? Amazon's breaking 3,000. That's still over like 50 times earnings, right? Like, we were talking about Netflix. I thought it was 30 and it's actually still in the 40s. Amazon's 50. So, like, some of these are going to contract, and that's just the reality. So, I mean, if you're looking for the next support level on Amazon, it's here. It's 2,800. It's like it's a stone's throw away. Brendo.
Yeah, there's nothing significant for Coinbase, guys. There was actually, on some days, this might even be positive news. They said they're going to team up with MasterCard on some NFT work. So, I mean, nothing other than, yeah, back to August levels I saw for Bitcoin, guys.
Honestly, guys, this is like an epic, and like, this is a crazy collapse. Like, we've never seen anything like this, guys, in this market. I mean, most of us haven't anyways, because we're too new to the market, right? I mean, look at some of these names here. These are all 52-week lows. Go ahead.
You know what it reminds you? Like, this is the thing. If you were trading back in 08,
right,
like, you remember days like this. And that's kind of why I'm kicking myself, right? Because, like, it's easy to say in retrospect, and even at the time, like, you need to hold on to your shorts. But, like, in the moment, it just felt like the right thing to get out of Coinbase at 200. But when you think about how far some of these can go, when you've got a name by the you-know-what, you've got to make sure you hold on to that position. So I'm going to hang on and try to give this Silvergate some room, because that 100 was a pretty key level there. And if it can hold this range and the market wants to continue to flush, like, that could be a good one. SoFi is my long bet. I'm going to stick with that. Brendan again? No? I don't know what I heard.
Ms. V? Oh, Test. Oh, yeah.
Test.
Yeah, I forgot Randy's on the board, remember? Yeah, so this is going to be a fun day for us. What's up, Randy? Okay, so yeah, I don't know, man. I thought maybe we had a little bit of a rally happening here in crypto. It doesn't really look like it wants to do that either, man. So we'll just continue to watch some of these trades, man. Peloton to the downside. What I was getting at here is these are stocks that I watch. And I mean, look how nasty this is here. Netflix, 52-week low. Clover, 52-week low. This is just an E-signal hot list. This is not names I'm looking at to trade here today. Clover, 52-week low. Roku, 52-week low. And they're nasty lows too. Disney, 52. And not only that, we've made 52-week lows and we're nowhere near them right now. That's the worst part about all of this. We're nowhere near these 52-week lows. They've already taken these out. It's huge. Palantir, 52-week low, 1450. Now 1360. Shopify, MindMed, forget about that. It's done. Neo as well. Spotify, TrueLeave, a cannabis name that we like. DraftKings is at 19 right now. XL Fleet Square's at 121 right now. So anyways, this is an absolute disaster of a day. If you have an RSP or a 401k, please do not look at it because you will not be a happy camper today, which is sad because there's everything was cruising nicely and then all of a sudden this stuff happened. So just be very, very careful with all of your positions, guys. I don't think it's worth averaging into anything right now. Crypto, everything's falling. So just be careful with it all, man. Lucid's back to 37 as well.
Yeah, and I keep saying there's a couple of small cap names that I'm forgetting about, and it's like I tried to get into DATS. This just keeps happening this morning. I tried to get into DATS in that consolidation, so I missed the short by 3 cents up here. I'm like, I'll just short it in front of $3. This is me sitting there at 97, and then this is the stock just flushing to 280. So that also is broken down. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that order because obviously I don't want it if it comes back in again. But there's another one flushing. This is the most convincing bounce that I've seen in the market so far. It's hard to see on a 60-minute. Again, that's what I'm using for the NASDAQ. But you can see it flushed that back at that low. And now we're right back above that 14.6 area on the NASDAQ, which SoFi just went back to flat for me. Peloton went back to flat as well, but that's a short position, obviously, in Peloton. I actually feel like this is going to be a reload in Peloton for me. If it rolls over here, in front of that 25.10 to 25 even area, then I'll try and reload Peloton on the curl. SoFi, I'm still sticking to the plan. I'm not going to cover anything until it gets up to 14.25 because if this ends up being the bottom, then I want to have given my long bet some room to run, some room to go. And then same thing with Peloton. If I get the reload here, I'm probably not covering anything till it gets back to the low of the day as well. So we'll see what happens. I think if this is the bounce, maybe I'm going to have missed a couple of other names to jump back into. Maybe I could have tried Netflix again in front of 380, but I'll just sort of stick with SoFi here because it looks like Netflix trying to go, but I've been burned by that already once.
Man, everything just reloaded itself right here. So, yeah, we need to get reloaded at some point here because stocks are starting to go again to the upside. You see the NASDAQ starting to bounce a little bit here, so that's a good play there. We need to find some names. You guys got a name for me? I see Henry talking about that, trying to say, let's get reloaded. So what name do you guys like right now? Because Microsoft down to 299, we already touched that 297. It's right near a reload spot for sure. Taking out that 299 right there is not a bad spot for Microsoft. Does it get back through 300? I mean, we know how fast this name can go. So Microsoft's not a bad reload spot there for us as well through that area. I still think there needs to be a little bit more. I don't want to get caught off guard here, guys. That's the main thing. I don't want to punch along and then the thing absolutely tanks. I get caught up looking one way. That's bad, right? So I don't want to sit here and just look long or just look short or something. I mean, I should just be looking short. And that's kind of what we're looking at. See, right there, maybe that was a reload on Microsoft. I was only looking long, and now look, right? It just dropped 40 cents right there. So again, I think this is just about being specific, waiting for the right trades to come through. On that note, I don't really see anything, man. I mean, Facebook's not near its 52-week low, so that could be not even close. Facebook's 52-week low is 250. We're still at 311, and you see a nice bounce back for that name. That could be something that we're concerned with right here. Facebook might be a good little long. It's only down 1.6%, but again, it needs to get at least to this 313 level before we do anything. So maybe Ford, maybe? I mean,
you know what? Honestly, it just came to my mind. I'm a huge fan of The Wire. There's a line from Marlowe in The Wire where he talks to a dude and he says, "You want it to be one way. You want it to be one way, but it's the other way." And that's just sometimes you have to accept it. And it's it is what it is. It's reloaded in Peloton. It's a short till it's not. I have one long bet. It's a short till it's not. Brendo, what's up?
VVOS, one that popped up, what day was that? 2 days ago. Starting to go here again. 250 just broke there on a huge volume alert. So VVOS. One to watch. Vivos Therapeutics. Not seeing anything new on that one, but worth a watch here going forward for the next little while. 10:30. That means there's 1 hour left in the entire trading week in Europe. Ms. V is watching what's happening over in Europe. What's up?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are also negative today. Mining company Rio Tinto trading in London is down around 3% after Serbia revoked its lithium exploration licenses over environmental concerns. Back to you.
I'm hearing echoes of Miss V's voice in the studio here, guys. Back over to you.
I was going to say that.
I think they've done something with a speaker, right, Lucas?
Something's up with
They
that.
put a speaker up there because we're testing all these different things now as we get ready to blast out a new stage for all y'all. So that should be fun. So we got to put some. Oh, come on, CRM. Look at CRM right back up there. I mean, yeah, like we just got stopped out on some of these levels, man. So yeah, it's going to look pretty bad. Some of these. Look at AMD. Wow. Okay, yeah, we should have gotten reloaded. Look at SoFi now busting up to the upside. Apple was our recent position we just took on. That's reloading itself here. Not even reloading itself. That's hopefully going to go back up to the upside. And there goes Softy as well, taking out that upside. Oh man, like now the long happens, and I'm just like sitting here in nothing. That's crazy. At least we have SoFi, we have Apple. The Peloton, I've already got out of that. We'll let that go and until we decide to do something about it. But right now, wow, Apple nicely done there for 30 cents, whatever. And then Microsoft, like I was saying here, that's another one. 300 just got taken down there. I guess that was a good spot there, Henry, at 299.50. And that would have been $1 in the money. So darn it. There goes Apple now to the upside. So wow, Apple, Microsoft, everything's starting to pump right now. So maybe it's worth a short on Softy as we're both at VWAPs. Let's try a short here on Softy as the market is trying to fail here as well.
Yeah, I mean, I reloaded on Peloton. I'll give it to VWAP, and I haven't taken anything out of SoFi. I'm still holding it, but I was looking at this chart, and it's like Sundial. Oh my goodness. Sundial breaking 50 cents was probably the easiest trade ever today. It breaks 50 cents, holds 50 cents. Now it's right back in VWAP. Look at this, try to barcode at 49. Like I just paid for, I don't know why it's not free to short, but anyways, I just paid for shorts on Sundial. I'm going to go short twice. I'm going to go first time off 49 and second time off 50 on this thing, just to try to find something which is at a level where the risk to reward is going to work for me and I can put on a trade that makes some sense to me. So I've done that with Silvergate. I think there's some room there. And then, like I said, I got back into Peloton and reloaded it. The short initially worked. Now it's coming into VWAP. So breaks 25.50. We know the level we really, really love is $27.30. And I'm not holding a 25 short to $27.30 on Peloton. That's like 10%. That's crazy. So if it does roll over in VWAP, then that's great. Heads back towards the bottom. But if it breaks out, I'm not holding this all the way. I'm retesting it at 27.30. That's the level from this morning. And if it gets back there, then we'll finally get that short, although we missed it the first time. There's no way I'm missing it a second time if it gets to that price.
Oh, man. Like, we're not big into this trade because we're like, we don't want to go short Microsoft, but we go short Microsoft, and then now all of a sudden the market busts a little bit higher. So we're going to have to be a little bit patient with this short. It's just going to come back into this area. I don't know if the NASDAQ, we were down 2.5%. It is starting to rip up now, obviously, so we are going to have to, and I'm just switching up the game. We were super long. You guys know that. We always trade to the long side. And then right now, obviously, we're getting some movement to the upside here. So yeah, does the market have a chance to break higher now? Of course it does. So let's wait to see. Will Microsoft take out this 303 level? That's really what we're waiting for. We were talking about that as our breakout in the morning. We were able to take it long, take it long, take it long. Now we average into this short, and is this where the market finally now begins to turn around? So let's wait to see what Microsoft does up there on that upside. SoFi working. Apple, I mean, as much as we're losing right now on Microsoft, Apple's at least, well, Apple failed. Oh, that was the wrong button. Apple nicely moved to the upside, trying to take out this 166 maybe. So there are some good, at least some green shoots here with my trading. But that's Apple right now and ripping, and Tesla only down now 972 right now on Tesla. That's made a move back.
Kind of just noticed I'm not really hitting any of these when they win. So we'll do some of this. I'm not going to look at gift horse now. I haven't hit this in a while. I just found it back on my board. BSFC broke $5, and look, a lot is happening as I'm looking for positions to get into. I just got into Sundial, and this one was in the money, and I already had the plan of action, but it breaks the low. It just smacks me out at $4. So bye-bye. That stock is looking like it's pretty much done for the day. That's a couple of bucks. Remember, this stock was from $2 to crazy prices in the aftermarket, and then was a short off of a $7 area here. So it's got room to run. I will reload this. If I can get it back up to VWAP, I'm going to definitely reload it. And guess what is very close to giving me a fill finally on the offer. Whoops, why do I have 2 orders there? I only mean to have 1. And that's going going to be SoFi. Why am I sitting at 23s? Whatever.
Oh, it's all the way up there.
Yeah, it broke. I'm like, why is my order? Why is my order not at VWAP? I'm like, yeah, because VWAP is a moving target. Idiot. And so it comes right back. So I'm going to take the first leg out right here at 22, and this is what we were waiting for it to test VWAP and hopefully break higher. If it does, I'm going to start taking out every 10 pennies, probably all the way up to 75s. But if this is the bottom, then this is the only one that I got to the long side. We already got every other long that I tried for a loser. So SoFi is going to have to be it because we find a range and a bottom that we could actually hold on to, so we'll see what happens. It doesn't mean it's going to work at this point. And the other small cap, by the way, which I am still in, SVFD, and I know I'm not really ignoring it, but hey, it's going sideways. I was trying to get more shares at about 5. That hasn't happened. I guess that's a good thing because that means it hasn't gone out of the money for me, but it also has yet to break the bottom. If this breaks the bottom, it could do a similar thing to what we just saw in the other one, BSFC, where it just tanks like 50 cents to $1. Could happen rapidly, so I want to make sure I have some bids out. I'll throw some in front of 4 1/4 just to make sure I'm taking profit in the event that this does flush.
Yeah, I was just looking at Peloton as a possible reload as well, but we're still, I mean, I don't have that many shares of this name, but, you know, it's still looking at these levels up near the high side. So if we can get something there, then yeah, we'll try to do that a little bit as Apple goes $1 in the money and Microsoft goes $1 the other way as it's now testing. Wow, Microsoft. Unbelievable the run that this is on, and I'm short here. We're going to give back the money that obviously we made on the long, and there goes Microsoft obviously back up to the upside as we're still waiting for this level to break. If it does, then we have no choice but to get out, which sucks because we should be long, man. We identified that. So a little bit of a throw around here today. It's still not that bad of a day. It's just yuck. That was a violent move downside here, and now we're caught short because we didn't believe that this market could rally here today. So yuck on that one. Nice little win for SoFi, as Neil just talked about that. Back up to the upside, got some out there at VWAP. So this, for me, has been a good trade on the long side, as has, like we said, Apple. Maybe we'll get some out as Apple touches those highs, and we already have our out ready to go for Microsoft. So, yep, not great, but not horrible. Let's go over to the big desk now with Brendan and have a look at the board, which doesn't look as bad as I thought it would.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, overall it could be a lot worse, guys. Here we go. I'll show you the S&P here, 0.33 only to the downside. Couple of big boxes here standing out. That's Netflix, 25%, dragging all of these down with it. Viacom, Discovery, Disney, Facebook's here even, Dish, Twitter, a lot of the communication services group in negative territory. The big one, obviously, going to be front and center there. Netflix, Twitter as well. I mentioned 2% to the downside. Healthcare stocks are red as well. I saw Moderna flying around there a couple minutes ago. There it is, 4.2% in negative territory for Moderna. Back to the downside again today. Gilead trying to offset Eli Lilly and J&J right out of the gate this morning. It was interesting. J&J showed a lot of relative strength. ISRG, ALGN, both red. Some of the travel names, I'll correct myself. Most of the travel names are quite lower on the day so far. The airlines, hotels, casinos, all to the downside. There's some of the cruise lines in negative territory. CCL, NCLH, Caesars here, Booking, Penn. They're all going to be red. So consumer discretionary names definitely among the leaders to the downside. Tech stocks, bank stocks. So financials down here, tech up here, all pretty much in negative territory. If you go to the softer names, PayPal leading 3.5% right now. Some of the banks, as I said, individual names also going to be in negative territory. Basically, the entire hardware equipment maker in the tech group to the downside along with semiconductors. So one of those days where we're getting offsetting moves. Where's the energy group? Wanted to mention, there it is. That's consumer staples. Energies were also in negative territory. I am not seeing it right now, but there it is. Also in negative territory. Oil did continue that sell-off. We saw that started in the pre-market. Wow. As I was standing here, we went from 0.3 to 0.5%, guys, for the S&P. Back to you.
The whipsaw action is absolutely crazy, and I think that's why, like, just one of the reasons why I kind of went over and tried to find something that was, if I'm going to be, sort of still actively trading here, because basically I'm just sitting in a couple of positions with wider ranges, like giving SI some room, giving SoFi some room, and then jump into something with a tight range like a sundial that I can actually get in and out of with confidence. And by the way, SFD is starting to break down towards the bottom, and Netflix is starting to, Netflix might retake the low, by the way, at 380.
Oh my God, pardon my French, but wow. We just missed getting loaded up back up here, but I wasn't sure what to do. And like, Wow, we just got the crack down on Microsoft, and like we are now in the money, and Microsoft is now going to be close to my #1 trade here so far today. Let's put another bid in the teens here. If we could get this out on that dump off the NASDAQ, like this is lucky, man. I was like, oh, we're dead in the water on this name because it was just ripping up to that 303, but we pegged that level almost perfectly again right there. So that was a great reload spot there. Should have done it. Just too heavily there. You could see what's happening now. Now we're starting to bounce back to the upside. I was waiting there we go. I was just gonna say I was waiting in the teens, and we just got filled down there as it comes on 18 right there at that level, at that 50 period mark. We're always gonna try to take out that. We've done some research. We like that level right there. So now we just got bid out right at that level. Now it's coming down. It's gonna crack lower, but wow. Yes. Oh my God. We just made back like a lot of money right there because we were DOA, as we said up there. If that would have broke higher, that would have been nasty. And here it comes right back down to the downside. So yes, sir, finally a $2 winner right there. As timber goes to market, thank you. Sometimes, yes. And I'm just, oh, wow. Okay, was there something like Microsoft now is getting elevated even more than the market right now? So this is starting to get cranked even lower right now as the market just takes out VWAP. As goes down, goes Microsoft right now on this short. Look, every position now in the money, in the money, in the money, in the money. And we just, you know, just like we got in, that's how we stair step it out. And now we have that position on 30% of the position left to the downside. Obviously, wish we would have held that, but we thought, really guys, we thought we were done when that started to rip up there. So wow, okay, lucky, very, very lucky there. But we might have just made a bottom. The NASDAQ looks like it might want to take a piece out, now back up to the upside. So maybe a back through VWAP is one more out there for Microsoft, but maybe it continues to fall. Let's wait to see. Wow.
Yeah, and someone asked, like, what do I think about Tesla? I'm actually not really looking at it right now, to be honest. There's just enough moving around that I think we can dig into something else. But 950 is a bottom. Look how far it got off of that low. So if it were to roll back over, I'd say there's some relative strength in there. I see things that are way weaker. Like contrast that, and just, again, I know Netflix reported, but contrast that to a Netflix right back at that 3. I said it might break that low. It looked like it was going to. So by the way, it broke it by 4 cents. So technically the low of the day on Netflix is 379.96. So it still has a chance to hold that bottom, but it did technically break that level. Like I said, I got into Sundial and that SVFD, by the way, that small cap. I took some profit on this. You know what? Like, let's liven it up a little bit. Like I said, we're not hitting anything when things are working out for us. So let's celebrate when we actually get a win on the stock. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. Part of it's because I'm angry that I'm not still short Coinbase. There was never a reason to get out of that trade. But now we're breaking down an SVFD, so that's going to end up working out. BSFC has definitely worked to the short side. Silvergate's starting to flush, but I think that stock could head down to 95 today. That, in all honesty with you guys. And then just coming back over to, what was it? It was Vinco. No, it wasn't Vinco Ventures. It was DATS. This stock's starting to get back to the upside, so I missed the short twice on this. If it comes to VWAP, I will try not to miss it a third time. It is stair-stepping to the downside. It's also SSR, so I'd rather short on a pop if I can do that. But obviously, it's been a crazy day. Sundial, I got in at 48.5. I'm not covering. First leg out will be at a penny, and then every penny down to about 45. I think that'll be an easy structured trade because I'm really only giving like a cent and a half anyways.
Yeah, so here goes Microsoft. We are now $2 in the money on this short, which is unbelievable, and starting to make more noise to the downside. It's just touched out a couple times here at 299.60. So let's put a bid there, take the $2, and then hold half of what we have left for the downside right now. Wow, this has just been a crazy, crazy day of trading right now. So we won't be too long here, but we do have Justin, the marketing guy, coming through. So what's up, Justin? Take it away, Brendo.
Yeah, let's bring in Justin here, guys. We'll talk about Netflix, the biggest story of the day, and will continue to be as we try to hold day lows here for Netflix. We'll dig into some of this report a little bit and understand, you know, what is important about this and what we need to know and why we're seeing, you know, Roku down, we're seeing Disney down, we're seeing all of the other streamers. Whenever you're ready, guys, just bring our friend Justin in. There he is. Good to see you, as always. Thanks for doing this, Justin. I mean, the subscriber forecast we kind of pointed out as, you know, the big standout here in this report, but what were you able to kind of decipher otherwise?
Right. So certainly the numbers were a little bit short of forecast, about 200K. So kind of missed the mark a little bit. And also, an increase of 2.5 million subscribers was projected, but, well below analyst expectations of 4 million. And also their growth has been the slowest that it's been in 5 years and was 50% of what they saw in 2020. They only added 18.2 million new subscribers during 2021. So all that aside, I think they did relatively well financially. They earned 7.7 billion in the fourth quarter, which is 12% higher than what they saw in Q4 of 2020. All that said, the stock price is down 19% in pre-market trading. I think, here's what I'm seeing. Netflix really is reaching their peak popularity. This isn't the streaming service from 5 years ago. While they are creating more original content, and they certainly have the lion's share of what's available to subscribers, what's available for content out there for people to watch. The reality is, Apple is taking a piece of the pie. Disney Plus is coming up. Amazon Prime is starting to gain more traction. They're now fighting for a lot of that attention. And the reality is that, that price increase, that 10% price increase that we saw last week in Canada and the US, that's going to play a big, big part. And subscribers probably starting to think about leaving the service. Maybe looking at ways to economize. Maybe they're going to look to different services. I mean, I have Netflix, I've got Amazon Prime, I have Disney Plus. So I'm not just stuck to one service anymore. Now it's there's a variety of different services that my partner and I use at home, and we both use different services depending on day of the week what we want to watch. So. There's no loyalty in this game anymore, and there certainly is no more exclusivity. And I think that's a great thing for consumers. Not so great for Netflix, though.
Yeah, a lot of choice, obviously, when it comes to these subscriptions. It seems like you get to a point. I mean, you just named off 4, 5, 6 there that all have that same kind of price tag. Gets to a point where this starts to get a little pricey as far as what you're paying every month for the ability to stream. So if they're not coming out with things that people want to watch, obviously Squid Game was the big one that I remember. Last quarter when we were sitting here discussing Netflix earnings, they said in the call, they kept referring to Squid Games in the call as what was going to make this quarter so good. Ends up not being the case.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the numbers for Squid Game were impressive to say the least. Arguably the biggest, probably the most successful launch of a limited series, not a limited series, but certainly the first season of an ongoing series, and some of the other films that the original content that they put out as well. The Red Notice was also one of their most, successful movie launches. I think they had the most number of hours streamed in a 4-week period. So they did really good, They did really well with that one. Great movie, and I can see why it did so well. So they need to continue with original content. I mean, they only created 4 more pieces of original content this year, in 2021 that they did in 2020. Maybe the next season of Squid Game will do well for them. Certainly, it has quite a bit of popularity. I've not seen it myself, but looks pretty good.
Yeah, same. I wanted to mention quickly here, we're talking about competition. I remember sitting here as well last quarter talking about Roku. In their earnings report, they were mentioning that they were going to start putting a whole bunch of money toward developing their own original content and getting into that side of the game as well. If we see a Disney, obviously everyone knows the story behind Disney Plus and some of their original pieces, but if you see, Roku come in, it's a lot of money to spend on a big question mark on whether or not it'll be a return, but possibly even more content to come.
Yeah, I think Roku's smart to look at original content. I mean, the reality is that's what keeps people tied into a particular platform. I think that's one of the reasons why I was always so very invested, so to speak, in Netflix. But again, Amazon's been doing a lot of original content. Disney Plus, certainly the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, and some of the other great content that they have available on there. So that's going to be the key for them. And I certainly hope that Roku does something great. I don't know if I can afford another 4th streaming service, so we'll have to just rely on everybody else and see what they say.
It was interesting when they came out with that price increase as well. Just target in this country, anyways, just targeting the the base package that they offer in this country for the increase. So if you're paying, for the 4K or the Ultra HD or whatever it's called at this point, it didn't actually get an increase. But the biggest one that they sell the most of is obviously the one they're going to hike the price on.
For sure. I mean, it's kind of a foregone conclusion. I remember when Netflix was, so I signed up. It was $6.99 a month.
Yep.
So, it's not so much anymore. I miss those days.
Yeah, I think I was $9.99 a month. So yeah, around that same period. Unbelievable what has happened. Yep. Justin Kozach, Day Trade the World Marketing Guy. Check him out, guys, at TraderTV Justin on Twitter. Thanks so much, Justin. We'll check back in again this afternoon, hopefully. Let's get back, guys, because things starting to bounce once again.
Yeah, and it's Slapshot Central. Yep. Thank you, Justin. But wow, yeah, that was a very, very exciting action there. It's always great to have Justin on. I mean, talking Netflix, it's Netflix day, right? So we'll average into Peloton. We'll get out now if it comes back into this level here, 25.50 or so for Peloton. I don't need to be in this day. There's not so much happening today on this, so we'll look elsewhere. If I can get out at 24.50, 25.50, sorry, right here. We'll get out of some of it, and then we'll hold for the bottom. And if it happens, it happens. But look at this, man. This was a big one for me. We smoked Microsoft today, my number one stock. I love trading this thing, and here it comes all the way to the downside. We get out of half of our trade at 299.50. We talked about getting out at that level, and then as soon as it broke, we tried to take these levels here. We actually missed this 300, so we just waited for $300.50 out and long. So then bang, bang, bang. Now we'll hold Microsoft in the money, $1.37 as that's going. Apple, let's go Apple. Ching ching on this one, $1 now in the money on Apple. And then that's about it, man. SoFi, Neil, nice win on that one as well. I know we both have that. So SoFi to the upside as well, and that's still going. Other than that, man, yeah, I can't be more happy with the way this last little while has turned out for us.
It feels like now, like after that last failed break, like now we're trying to take out level.
Oh, Apple, baby.
SoFi breaking VWAP, but the overall market breaking out here big time. Like you're seeing, if we can get right through this 14.8, looks like quarter or so on the NASDAQ, and then over here in the ES, like you're right at this top at 44.80, it's a hold your long situation and start thinking about get out of the shorts, right? So I got Silvergate at 2, and 104 is the high of the day. I'll have to get out of that if it breaks 102. The small caps, I don't really care about that SVFD. I don't think it cares too much about the market, but the thing to look at, it's like, okay, well, guess where we're at now, or still at, I should say. You're still near the bottom on Netflix, right? And if we break the high and you're still able to get Netflix off the 380 level, then I've been waiting the whole time to try this another shot because the gap feels so big. It's down 24%. But that would be the condition that makes some sense to me. If you're below VWAP, you have a reasonable risk to roll, which it is right now, off that 380, and we can break both those highs on the NASDAQ and the New York, then it's going to make some sense on Netflix. And Dave Campbell has typed a couple of times, time to get into Ford. So I have not looked at Ford. Like usually it's not, I mean, the time to get in it was probably breaking back above VWAP or in front of $20. But yeah, in at the high, I can't bring myself to go long here. But if that breakout happens that we were just mentioning, and you can get it a good risk to reward off of 21 or off the low of the day, then that would totally be a different story. But up at the top, it's like 20 cents from the high. Can't do it. Already time for Money Talks. Brendan at the big screen. Crypto's moving.
Hey guys, yeah, interesting looking board here today, and I'll show you this headline down here. The dollar actually holding, it is negative on the day, but the US dollar actually holding some key support on the daily chart, 95.5. While other currencies showing a lot of weakness today, so it's not too often anyways, you see the euro is up. Everything else, though, in negative territory, including Canadian dollar, about 0.2 to the downside, British pound, 0.3 to the downside. All the way down the board outside of Turkish lira, you're going to be in negative territory. New Zealand and Australia getting hit pretty hard today as well. And again, without that strength that we usually see from the US dollar to pressure some of these. Been a long time since we've seen a 3 at the front of Bitcoin. But yeah, 5.6%. There's Ethereum as well, almost 8% to the downside. Ugly numbers right across the board, guys, for cryptocurrencies today.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's for damn sure. Yeah, we emptied out of some of our crypto yesterday. We tweeted that out. I got out of 20 to 25% of everything on the 40 break, on the 3,000 break, and on the 125 break. And it could all come back. I mean, it's just a matter of like, I just want things to settle down. And if I have to pay up for the trade, then I'll pay up for the trade. And it's just, I want to see what this weekend does in crypto land. And, hopefully it'll be good. And we can celebrate with our crypto positions because I'm in HUD 8. You guys know that. I have a small position in Coinbase. Thank God we sold that before the earnings hit. But, you could see here HUD 8 just to the downside. You want to talk about getting some crypto names on board. I mean, this might be one here. If you're into mining, HUD 8 just from 17 all the way down to $5 today. So that's just getting absolutely destroyed. Our longs are doing well though, man. Microsoft, Apple working as well today, up $1 on that name right now, near day's high one more time, and then $1.50 in the money. As I'm going to hold Microsoft because I really think we could break through 303 here. So that's going to be a good trade. And there goes SoFi back up to day's high base. I mean, when I'm talking about day's high, forget about the market open. I hope we can get back to that level. But right now, SoFi back to these levels that really were of concern in the first place, this 1450 area. So we'll see if that can come through. Hopefully it does. What? Oh my God, I had an offer on Apple. I thought we canceled that. Okay, that's fine. We'll take the $1. I mean, I can't believe right now I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just took $1 on Apple. But we had an offer right into this level because it failed last time. But the thing is I think the NASDAQ's breaking out. So this probably should have been held, but we'll take that off. We still have Microsoft right here that's rocking and rolling to the upside. So we'll hold on to this one as the market goes. Peloton, dancing, I don't know. It dipped down to 60 there. Maybe we just get that out. We're short at 35. Even if we take it out now, we should still we will make money on the day. So Peloton right now, we're trying to hold this short. Let's see if it can crack a little bit lower here. Maybe if the NASDAQ falls, Peloton does fall. You know what? I'm going to cancel that 50 bid and see if Peloton does, although it looks like Peloton's going up, I'm going to see if it can retest here and then maybe back into this area like 30s for Peloton maybe.
Yeah, and just looking with about 3 minutes left to go here, the NASDAQ and the ES both tried to take out that high, got really close to doing so. I think the ES touched it and did not take out the high. The NASDAQ, pretty much the same thing. I was just noticing AMAT, by the way, just got back into positive territory. So kind of picking out where their strength has been. A day like today is worth doing. We're noting Intel before, but in AMAT as well, going to be in that bucket, and some healthcare doing well. But Netflix is what I'm probably going to be going back to the well. In just a couple of minutes, we're sending you guys to Market Movers with Trader Pratt and Miss V. But going to be still looking. If we break that high, and we're still in this range on Netflix, I think I'm going to take one more shot at this one to the long side. But hey, it's Friday. We got to find out what National Day it is. I know you're waiting for it. Let's go to Miss V.
Hey guys, what a busy day. I hope you're all doing great, and I remind you that we need more likes, team. Not enough, just 1,300 right now. And if you support and smash the like button, we would really appreciate it. I know you're all busy, so here I am to remind you. And yes, join Prad and me right after to continue trading this crazy day. Happy National Granola Day, everyone.
Love granola. I can't say enough about granola. I love granola. It's nice on. Oh, there goes Peloton to the upside, so we'll have to look at that. But granola is nice on cereal, or it's part of a cereal, on yogurt, things like that. I'm a fan of granola.
I'm only laughing because, if our boys from high school were watching this, half of the crew, my pops used to buy, the boxes of these PC granola bars.
Good for him. Yeah, we do that now.
Look, if you have, you know what it's like, right? So, if you have, you have.
You eat about a million of them.
Or sorry, in university now, but it's growing boys got to eat. And I'd go through a half a dozen of those a day. I'd have them in my bag. It's just unlimited. So the dudes would come to the house. It's you're not getting burgers if you go to Catine's. You're eating PC granola bars over and over again. I can't touch those things now, by the way.
Oh, no?
Because I ate so many of them.
Yeah.
I can't. It tastes
No,
wrong
my
to
kids
me.
crush those things. We're Costco fans for the
good.
granola guys, by the way. Costco has those Kirkland ones. They're huge. And they're mighty
nice.
tasty. Yeah, Kirkland, yeah. You got. I can't believe you don't have a Costco membership and you have a kid.
I have. She's 4. Well, she's 5 in a month, but
yeah,
it's not honestly, we don't go through enough stuff to get Costco. Maybe when we grow the tribe a little bit, that'll be time to do it. But hey, 20 seconds to go. If we can break out, I think there's going to be a decent chance we got about a bit of a bottom here in a temporary rally in this bear market that we got going on. So lots to happen, lots still moving. Netflix down 24%, and a decent chance that we're trying to break out. Let's go SoFi. Yeah, but it is time to send you guys to Trader Pratt, Ms. V. I got to see what those guys have been trading this morning. Kill them.
Hit the like.
Hit the like. Welcome to Trader Pratt and Miss V. Welcome to Market Movers. I'm your host, Trader Pratt, the beautiful Miss V right here.
Hey, Brad. Hey, guys. Thank you very much for joining us today. Happy Friday to you all. Please, as usual, be active on the chat. Ask us anything. And, of course, like this video. How's your day going?
So far, so good. Up and down, having the swings. So we'll just trying to see where the market takes us. It's not 4 o'clock yet, and that's the only thing that's in my mind. How about yourself?
Negative